This meeting to order. We're going to discuss some new business. Item 1, discuss the interview format. So, how do you guys want to proceed with this?
Are you going to give us sheets to fill out?
We got them right here.
I don't have one.
Yeah, you do.
Underneath, I think.
Oh, yeah, I got one. Well,
Do we want to? Well, I guess
I'd suggest.
we all interviewed them.
Right.
Do we want to go through with the entire 5, or do we want to shortlist it, just list it to 3 and then go with that route?
Well, I think the community deserves to hear from all
Okay.
five.
They need to hear everybody.
So after we hear from all 5, then we pick on this list, check whoever you might choose. Personally, I'm going to pick a first and a second, and I couldn't make a decision number 3. So I'll only have 2 choices, a first and a second. And then I anticipate that the city clerk would tally up our votes and put them up on the screen. You can put them on the screen? Okay. So we would pick our candidates, whether it's, I would say don't score all 5, just pick your top 3. And like I said, for myself, I'm just going to pick the top 2. We give those numbers to kind of like secret ballot to Karen, and then she'll tally them up, and then she'll pop it up on the screen, and then we'll look at it and see where we go from there. How's that sound?
All right.
You good with that, Tim?
I'm good with that. I think that's what the plan is. It sounds really good. But as far as the questions coming on it, I do agree that we need to speak to each one of them. For the public, we've already spoken to them multiple times. The public, I think, is we owe them that to do these candidates. 5 questions. I don't know if we want to go all 5 or just 2 of the 5 questions or 3 of the 5, whatever you guys want to do. Because that seems, I like the option of 5 questions, but these 5 questions could go an hour for each person.
Yeah.
So.
Anything in particular, you guys looking at these questions, to do a short list of 2 or 3 of these questions that you'd prefer to hear?
I don't think we need the one about collective bargaining.
Okay.
Do you see, or do you want to have public ask their questions, or is this just receive mode for the public?
I think at the end, we'll call them all in, and if the public has any questions, we'll let them ask questions.
I think it'd be better if, while they're separated, the
I think
public
so.
can ask the question, because they may want to hear from each one independently of the same question, but.
I think what you usually do is you have public comment.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the public.
I think we'll do
If you
public
had
comment. We don't need back and
people in
forth.
this room, and they all wanted to ask a question, then can we reserve this room till about 4 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I'm
And,
just saying we have 4.
and another thing is.
I know, but each four could all ask 4 questions if they wanted to.
We can limit them, will you agree to limit to 1 question? And I'm just saying, we don't need a hypothetical, we have 4 and we could.
I suggest they write the question down and the mayor asks the question.
That'd be good.
There we go.
I'm good with that.
You guys okay with that? Yeah, all right.
All right, so I'm saying, I don't think, the collective bargaining thing, I think that's,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think we need to ask about that. And,
I think maybe that.
I don't think number 2's, we could tell by their resumes if the community had their own police department, fire department, wastewater plants. Probably not country club or golf course, but, and some of them didn't even have beaches. So I don't know why we need number 2.
My favorites are 4 and
5.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 and 5 for sure. Number 2, yes, no?
I say 1, 4, and 5.
1, 4, and 5. Tim, you good with that?
1, and 1 and 5.
Okay, but so you're good with getting rid of 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get rid of 2 and 3?
He wants 1, 4, and 5, so we'll do 1, 4, and 5. Okay. And then if anybody wants to ask something that's not on the list, we can ask that too.
Okay. And then are you okay with, I think it's fine after the interview, they can stay in because they're not going to be having any extra input after that? Is that, what do you think? Or do you want them to go out?
Listen to the subsequent candidate.
And I don't want to make the subsequent candidate uncomfortable because the
Okay.
first one won't have anybody and then the
All
last
right.
one will have more people.
Sounds good. All right, sounds good. So we'll start with Nate Summers because obviously he's going to be with us remotely, and I don't want possible of him watching the rest.
Hello?
Hey, Nate.
Hey.
How you doing? So you're here live in the commission meeting.
Okay.
We're going to start our interview. We've only got a few questions for you, just for the sake of time, and we've already pretty much interviewed you extensively. So we're going to start off with, so within your current or last job, what would the community tell us about you, and what would elected officials tell us about you, and what would staff tell us about you?
Yeah, and so my last position was Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor to the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Manpower and Reserve Affairs. And so basically supporting 700,000 Department of the Air Force, so Air Force, Airmen, and Space Force Guardians, and all things people policy related. And so from that three-angle approach, the community would tell you that I'm a great partner in working across, the variety of major commands and installations that we have spanning the globe from both the Air Force and the Space Force, and working to resolve and solve people problems for over 700,000 Airmen, Guardians, and their family, in the military, from both military members and civilian government employees as well that comprise that makeup. From a staff perspective, they would call me a good teammate and partner because, I help lead as a chief of staff, staff supporting the principal, assistant secretary, and so working together as a team and being a people person, and basically working and collaborating to ensure that we were all a lockstep to support the mission that we were there to achieve. And from an elected official perspective, I mean, my boss was a political appointee, and so he hired me, and so from that perspective, I would say, from an elected official, it would be good because I was there as his right hand in supporting and kind of basically being, a advisor for him on all things as we went about, traveling all over the United States and visiting installations to hear what was going on, to working policy with inside the Pentagon to help shape and provide better personnel policies for individuals in the Department of the Air Force, and kind of providing him that guidance. So from a three-pronged approach from community staff and elected officials, the key takeaways would be a good teammate, a good partner, and a people person that's there to take care of people.
All right, thank you. So I don't know if you had much experience with this, but do you have any experience with, or have you had experience with, dealing with unique challenges of a coastal community, coordinating with DEP or Water Management District, the FFW, Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT? Yeah,
and so I would say two, from a coastal and a non-coastal, and so I'll go non-coastal first. When I was a Mission Support Group Commander, so like a city manager of Joint Base Andrews, I had, environmental under me, and so we had water management, and wildlife, and working with the state of Maryland, where Joint Base Andrews resides, on all things, environmental and water management. And then from, working down as a Force Support Squadron Commander at Patrick, then Air Force Base, now Space Force Base, and working the variety of the entities that I ran. I ran a force support, so I had, the golf course, and I had all of the food operations and lodging operations, but partnering within the mission support group there at the time with the engineering to work on the things that we had, in the golf course and the marina, with water, conservation with the marina there, all Patrick, and so I do have, background and situational awareness of working with all of those partners from a coastal perspective during my time there at Patrick, as well as from a different lens, non-coastal, in my time in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, that's a good point. Patrick is like a mini city over there with all the different amenities. So Cocoa Beach is virtually built out. Our taxes are high. Our tourism is about 2.5 million. We require public safety resources as well. What would be required by our population of 11,300? What approach would you recommend to maintain the future fiscal health and quality of life in Cocoa Beach?
Yeah, and so I think that goes back to, in the interviews I had earlier with you all, is building partnerships, relationships, and so, working, quality of life has been the cornerstone of my career, and what I've been focused on in my 24 years as a force support officer and a people officer in the Air Force. Quality of life has been at the heart of what I do, and so building partnerships and relationships across the span of not only, the Cocoa Beach, but across, the Space Coast to ensure that, for the residents that are, comprising the city of Cocoa Beach and making that their home, is that we do the things that we can in a budgetary environment to ensure that we are being fiscally conservative to bring back things to enhance quality of life. When I was a commander at Joint Base Andrews, that's one of the first things I stood up was a quality of life forum, where quarterly, brought in all the agencies that had a role in quality of life issues, and then brought in, the residents, and then provided a virtual forum as well as an open forum to attend, so that we could discuss what was going on to enhance quality of life and things that were going on within the installation, as well as provide them the opportunity to bring issues and ideas forward so that we can enhance the quality of life. And so I think that's a big thing for me and a cornerstone of where I'm at, people first, and quality of life, and looking at ways we can budgetarily to work together with the residents and you as a city council to enhance that and take the city of Cocoa Beach into the future will be a top priority for me.
All right. Appreciate that. Is there any questions that the public would want me to read on behalf?
No, I would just, I know this is a unique situation, and for anybody in the room, I don't know what has been explained. I wish I could be there in person. My family and I have COVID, and so I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say that I deeply appreciate, the flexibility and the time throughout the day, just, and the chance to share how my experience aligns with Cocoa Beach's priorities. I've managed large-scale programs and talent strategies to advising top leaders in high-stakes environments, and I feel that my background in the Air Force has prepared me to lead with transparency, collaboration, and accountability. I'm excited about this role and this opportunity to serve a community that blends a unique coastal environment with dynamic growth. And I believe my skills in planning and engagement and organizational leadership will help address today's challenges while positioning Cocoa Beach for long-term success. And I just would be honored to earn your trust as your next city manager.
Thank you very much, Nate.
Question for Karen. So is this being broadcast? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Mr. Summers can listen through the rest of the candidates if he chooses to?
Yes,
Okay, and then he'll be able to hear whatever our deliberations are at the end?
correct.
Okay, Nate, sit back, put your feet up, and we'll see what happens in about an hour.
All right. Thank you all again. It was a pleasure meeting you all. And again, I look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right, thank you for your time, sir. All right, let's call in Taylor Brown. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, that'll be fair. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Hey, is there any way to turn that down a little bit?
The phone is, that was the phone.
Couldn't turn it down, but it should be.
Oh.
You guys have-
No, it's through our system. I called him through our system. Yeah,
So you can turn it off now.
I could turn him off.
Yeah, you can turn them off.
I hit that.
Yeah. Taylor Brown. I've got a couple questions here that if you want to look through them as I ask you the questions. 1, 4, and 5 on that list. And if you wouldn't mind when you leave, just leave that there for the other guys.
Wait, did you say one?
Yeah, the first one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. We're going to skip out on
You
the,
can just scratch.
scratch out
2
the
and 3
2 and
for
3.
the next guys.
Doing a shortened,
Just a short little, yeah, we're gonna just ask you, and this way you can, if you forgot some of the details of what I asked you, you can just read it there. So we'll start off, Taylor Brown, within your current or last job, or if in transition, what would the community tell us about you? What would the elected officials tell us about you, and what would your staff tell us about you?
can you hear me, or do I need to hold this microphone while I need to talk into my...
Yeah, there you go,
Okay.
that's better.
Second night of karaoke in a row. Well, that's loud. It's a little unnerving. The community that I last worked with would tell you that I'm fair, honest, approachable, involved, and that I represent them well. The elected officials there would tell you that I tell them what they need to hear and not necessarily what they want to hear, but that I'm flexible, and I give them good counsel, or the best counsel that I know to give, but that at the end of the day, when a council makes its decision and sets a policy, I will implement it, whether I agree with it or not. And the staff would tell you that I'm easy to work with, very collaborative, a happy-go-lucky kind of guy most days, and that I support them, that I create a family-type environment in the workplace, and that I have their back. And that would be a direct quote, that last one.
All right. So what is your experience in dealing with the unique challenges of a coastal community, if you've had that?
I have.
Coordinating with DEP, Water Management District, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT, those type of organizations.
I have had, I did manage one of the cities in Florida that I managed was Coastal Community, over in Okaloosa County, next to Fort Walton Beach. Is the smaller city of Mary Esther. I have had to deal with all of these agencies. The most difficult one to deal with, in my opinion, is the Army Corps of Engineers. However, my approach to everything I do is to try to build the relationships with counterparts and people that I need to work with in other agencies and neighboring governments and whatnot, to reach out and meet those folks and try to build a rapport and a relationship before I need it. And to have it be a two-way street where I offer my expertise, my service, whatever, sounding board I can be to those professionals as well. And I've had very good experience with that approach. I find that at the end of the day, we're all just people, and we're all just trying to do good and get through the day and make our communities better. And if you can approach people on a personal level and let them know that you see them and that you feel their challenges and you understand the red tape that they have to work under, or the federal government regulations that they have to imply, then they will be much more inclined to want to work with you and to help you out in the same manner. So, were you looking for specific projects or that kind of details, or you just wanted to know more about had I had experience?
Whatever you want to share, that's up to you. If
Just Basically, did you have experience coordinating with all those agencies?
Yes, all of them. I have, in each of my jurisdictions, for one reason or another, either because it was a coastal community or it had sensitive environmentals like wetlands, large wetlands, or swampy areas, or in Gilchrist County, that's a springs protection zone because that county has the highest concentration of natural springs in the world. In many cases, because of having done what I said earlier about reaching out and forming relationships, when I first have done that in some of those regions, I met key players, and they were so thrilled that either a city manager or prior to that when I was a planning director, say in Gilchrist County, when I reached out to them before I needed something or was trying to permit something, that I was reaching out to introduce myself, to get to know the region, get to know the issues. Many of them seized upon that because it's an unusual thing to do, apparently. And because of that, I was brought in under the wing of some people. I got tours, I got extra attention given to me about, hey, let us take you to a tour, different things like that. So it turned out to be very beneficial because I learned in a life living laboratory. I had, for instance, the FFW people took me to Cedar Key, which is the next county over, and gave me a tour of the clam farming beds there and the seagrasses, because what we do in land use in Gilchrist County is going to come down and impact those areas. And so they were thrilled that somebody who had authority over land use regulations within the springs protection was interested in learning about these things. And so I got to see the full picture. So, and that cemented the personal relationship. So when there was an issue ever, I could just pick up the phone, oftentimes somebody's cell phone, and they'll take my call. So same thing with FDOT, really close work with DEP and my water management districts, and I've worked in the St. Johns River Water Management District as well as the Suwannee River Water Management District. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Cocoa Beach is virtually built out. Our taxes are somewhat higher. Tourism around 2.5 million. We require a lot of public safety resources well above what our required population would be of 11,300. What approach would you recommend to maintain our future fiscal health and the quality of life in Cocoa Beach?
Well, clearly maintaining fiscal health and quality of life will be important for both your residents and your tourists alike, so maintaining the quality of what you've already built here is priority one. The fact that you were built out doesn't mean that you stop developing, I often say there's no such thing as a stable community. This is the planner in me, and this is a mantra that most planners will have been educated with, that your community is either growing or it's stagnating and possibly slowly dying. And you have to define what you mean by development in that respect, or growth, because growth doesn't necessarily mean growing bigger. It can simply mean growing better, or it can be maintaining the value or the infrastructure, So you constantly have to continue to invest in your city, in particular in your infrastructure, because everything has a useful life. And if you're not paying attention to that closely, at some point you may find yourselves behind the 8 ball with deferred maintenance will catch up with you. And so those are the kinds of things. And a lot of that infrastructure is underground, so it's out of sight, out of mind. So you have to be proactive in your approach to monitoring these things, knowing what you have, and preparing for the eventual day that will come when something needs to be replaced. So that's why I say growth can even mean just updating what you already have. It doesn't have to mean that you grow to a 20,000 population. Maintaining your fiscal health, again, you got to keep your eyes on that. I would say as public servants, we are stewards of the public's money, and that we need to take that responsibility seriously, and we need to spend it as though it was our money. I often tell members of my staff, because I have worked for 3 cities and all of them were fiscally constrained compared to Cocoa Beach. So we didn't have the luxury of wasting money because we didn't have much to work with. And so we had to be innovative, we had to be creative, we had to milk every dime that we had to get the most out of it. So that has given me the skill set to be very efficient with the use of public funds. And I think from a philosophical standpoint, we have to also recognize that much of what we do, we have a monopoly when we do it. So we don't have the normal market-based or competitive economies where we're competing and we could be best. And so with those monopolies that are granted to cities, you know, particularly for public utilities, comes an added responsibility, in my opinion, where you have to be greater stewards of that money, because all the money you're getting there, you are first taking from somebody else who may or may not have had any choice in whether to give it to you. And so to me, that raises that bar. It means that we have to be even greater stewards of that money. And I think that you have to have open communication with your community. You have to have a good understanding of what it is that your community wants as far as services and infrastructure, and that you're not forcing things on them simply because you think you want it or you think you need it, or because you have found a grant program to build something, or somebody's offered to donate property. I've seen plenty of places build things simply to build something or to have something to point to that, hey, look what we did. And often they don't take into account like the long-term maintenance and upkeep for those sorts of things. And then they realize that it was something that they really couldn't have afforded, not easily, and that they essentially didn't even need it. And they're public. The worst thing is when a community does that and then one's even going to use the asset because you failed to get input from your public at the front end to know that whether that was something that they were even interested in having. So for all those things, I think you have to have a very close relationship with your population, your residents. Take what they say seriously. If you don't have the kind of community that comes and tells you, then you have to take the added responsibility of going and soliciting that information from those people. And there's a number of ways to do that. But that would be my philosophy, that's part of our responsibility to do that.
All right. Any questions from the public you want me to read?
Yes.
All right. You know what? Because it's hard for me to read this.
Mr. Mayor, would you
want me to read the
would you
whole-
like this to put it on there?
No.
No, you want me to
Just
read the whole
leave that
thing?
there.
Please.
Okay.
Unless you want me to read it.
No. All right. How long would you feel it should take to analyze our budget, observe, work with staff, learn about our geography and environment, and interact with stakeholders before making major changes to our budget, staffing, and policy that is within your wheelhouse, beyond your time spent in the last 2 days in Cocoa Beach? Not how much time have you spent educating yourself about our city?
So 2 questions there?
It says, and
You
do
stuck
you
in 2
feel
questions,
small
didn't you?
business play in the city of Cocoa Beach, and how would you support them?
No, just the first.
Okay.
It's like, should I come and address it?
You can address us.
I was just joking. Okay, so the first question was about how long would it take me to assess the organization?
How long is it going to take for you to get up to speed before you try to make any major changes?
Actually, you know, those questions are kind of related because the second half asks, what have I done in preparation? And I can tell you I've done a great deal of preparation to come here. Part of that's because I've been waiting 9 years for this opportunity. Another is because of my genuine interest in Cocoa Beach. It's easy to research something that you already know you like. But, and I think I expressed to many of you already that I have watched almost every one of your public meetings that you've held this year on your YouTube channel. So by doing that, I've seen you in action. I understand the dynamics. I feel like I have a certain amount of understanding of where each one of you as policymakers are coming from. I've witnessed your staff interacting and how well they do that, the respect that's coming and going. I've seen your population be proactive and come up here and hold your feet to the fire if they felt that was necessary, but I've also seen them come up and compliment you on jobs well done. These are all things that please me and are part of the reason I'm standing here before you today. Additionally to that, I've read through a lot of your documents. I've done massive amount of research in, media. I've used AI to help me in some of the research, so I've had help identifying some of the issues, not only currently, but also from the past, and have been able to pick up on patterns of things that you have been doing well to address issues that have been stagnant for a while, and then also see things that maybe need to be brought up to the front burner again. So through all of that, I feel like at this point in the game, I have a pretty good view of what this organization, or how well it's functioning. And I feel like it's functioning rather highly. Every place can always do better, and I hope that it's the type of organization that strives to continually improve. That's certainly what I try to do personally and professionally. But to get back and answer the first part of the question, I typically take about 6 months on the job. I spend that first 6 months coming in. I come in, I try to mold myself to fit the existing culture within the organization. I don't come in the day one and say, this is the way we do this, and that. I come in and I ask, how do you do this? Who's responsible for this? How often is this done? When was the last time you guys updated this or looked at that, or has this been discussed, or what do you think the council would think of this idea? I spent about 6 months doing that. I spend a lot of time out in the field. I'll visit all the departments. I'll meet every member of staff. I'll try to remember as many of their names as possible. I'll try to understand, who they are as people, where they're going in their careers, what they see in the future, all these kinds of things. And I'll come in while I have those fresh eyes, because I'll be able to see things both from my experience and training as an urban planner, and also my years of experience as a city manager. I recognize that I come in to a community and I will see things that even you no longer see because you live here. And so, I will put that on paper and I'll make lots of notes. And I'll also proactively ask staff members, particularly first level supervisors and department heads, I'll force them to tell me about the things that have festered here for years. I'll ask them questions like, what is it that you used to try to get done but you never were able to get it done? Or what's always bothered you? Or those kinds of things. I try to flush out anything that's got cobwebs on it. And I just get it all on the table, just so we can all see it. And then I will take all of that data and I will assess it, and I will create. Typically, I've got a spreadsheet for numbers and issues, and then I try to group things together and try to come up with a nice presentation. In Perry, at the 6 month mark, I did a presentation. It wasn't my title for it, but the local newspaper entitled it "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly." So I gave a public meeting presentation to the board with their permission, and it actually it lasted almost 4 hours. I stood, and of all days, the air conditioning. It was summertime, and the air conditioning broke that day. And it was a packed room because I had invited all the movers and shakers in the community to come and listen and to participate. And we sat there in that room. I stood there in that room talking for 4 hours, giving the PowerPoint, showing the photographs in great detail of the observations, the issues, also showing the things that I saw that were going well, that we should build upon, some of the things that may not have been on the radar of the council, finances and this, that, and the other. I lost hardly anybody in that 4 hours. The people that were there stayed. And some of them were elected officials themselves at the county level or constitutional officers. And at the end of that long period, I got literally a standing ovation. And a huge write-up. The paper did a huge write-up, and they listed every single item that I had gotten. And it was several pages in the newspaper. Because of that presentation, I then got lots of visits from members of the community who weren't there, but who had to hear about it, buzz on the street in following days, or read about it in the newspaper. They were thrilled. They were absolutely thrilled because they're like, finally, somebody sees all the stuff that's not been paid attention to. Somebody understands that we can be better, we can do better, and isn't afraid of the tough work or the tough conversations to get us there. And so, with the council's blessing, we then went, they followed my first recommendation was, let's identify the values that the organization and the city has, because if we can identify what our community values are, then we can then apply those values to our decision-making moving forward, because there's never going to be enough time or enough money to get all the work done that needs to be done. So always we're going to have to be prioritizing. If we know what our values are, then we can apply those, and that makes it a lot easier. It almost becomes obvious what the priorities should be after you know what your values are. And so we went through that process, we got that. We then went back to those lists and all those items, and we prioritized. And then we matched up.
I think you're a little past the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got me going. I'm sorry.
I know. You're giving us a history lesson.
I think at this point, we'll just do, if you have any like quick closing remarks that you want us to remember, or the city residents to remember, and then we'll move on.
Well, I just wanted to let you know why I wanted to be the city manager and why I wanted to join and be part of your community. You know, I'm drawn here because it's such a vibrant coastal community. It's such a unique mix of residents, small businesses, and tourism. I mentioned last night how I used to live in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and that taught me about how some places have a distinctive culture and a vibe and a spirit that you can feel when you're there that really speaks to you. And I feel that same energy here in Cocoa Beach. And that's a very rare thing to find. And I think most of you and most of your residents would understand exactly what I mean when I say that. And it's for that reason that I have applied to come here and join you. I also feel like my skill set and my past experiences match up well with what you need moving forward. I'm ready to start the next chapter in my life, personally, and as well as in my career. And I can't think of a better place to try to do that. So if you agree, I'm happy to come to work with you and join you in these efforts and see what the future of Cocoa Beach holds. If you don't, I still wish you well. I'm still going to root for Cocoa Beach. I'm still going to visit you. And I may apply again next time.
Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice tie.
That's what I said. I liked it. All right. So we got Mike Hine next.
Maybe you can borrow one of his ties. Okay.
Ooh, burn.
I mean, I offered you to borrow one of my ties.
We were gonna have to get 4 more ties here.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys don't even have full button down. No, look, we're the only ones with the full button downs.
Cocoa Beach was New York City.
New York City.
Well, it's representing the city of Cocoa Beach. I mean,
No rambling on, okay?
we're not rambling on. There's no one here.
I had to reel that guy
Yeah, let's. Yeah, you did a good job, Skip. Usually we're the one trying to reel you in.
Yeah. It's good to get a history
So maybe
lesson.
we
Do you
should
have
say, we'll say within, like, let's say 5 minutes or less.
Yeah, Adrian.
Adrian, did I answer your question?
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Did you,
Do you want us to ask that again for the next person?
was that a setup?
Written up before the first.
Okay.
Was that a setup for him?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No, we asked them all that question in our interviews.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've done a full extensive interview, all of us. So these are just questions that we haven't really drilled them down on yet.
All right.
All right, Mike, how you doing? Step on down.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission.
So I believe you have a list with a few questions on there in front of you, as long as he left it.
I do.
Okay. So questions 1, 4, and 5, we're gonna ask you. This way you can read it as I ask it. Within your current or last job, if you have the job right now, what would the community tell us about you? what would the elected officials tell us about you, and what would your staff tell us about you?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, again, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be before you this afternoon, and congratulations on a pretty thorough search, and also a successful centennial and new facility. I think you know what the community and elected officials and staff would say based on the background material and the references. I think they would say that I'm a servant leader who cares, who invests in individuals and relationships from a community standpoint, somebody who becomes part of the community, who knows what people are involved in, participates with local community groups, whether it be agriculture or faith-based or what have you. From a elected official standpoint, I'm communicative. I spend time advising them, giving them options, information to make good, valued decision-making processes, and I execute. I underpromise and overdeliver. My staff would say that I spend the time, I lead by example, and I care.
Thank you.
Thank you. What is your experience in detailing with the unique challenge? What?
You said detailing.
Oh, dealing, sorry. What is your experience in dealing with unique challenges of a coastal community? If you've been in one, coordinating with DEP, Water Management District, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, I have a lot of experience with sand coming from the desert. Now, coastal, very limited. I worked for a little while with the town of Longboat Key. We did a beach renourishment project. They actually chose to truck in the material from a mine instead of dredging because they were very particular about the granularity and the size of the sand. So I have dealt with it in that capacity. In regard to coordinating with DEP, Water Management Districts, FFW, and the Army Corps of Engineers and FDOT, many of the agencies work with all the jurisdictions throughout Florida. DEP is greatly involved, especially in our utility division and issuing permits. FDOT, I know the district engineer for District 5. One of the bigger projects we did with the city of Groveland involved realigning the traffic through downtown. It's a 100-year-old community that has a grid system which isn't built for semi-traffic trailer. About a third of the average daily counts of traffic right now is semi-tractor trailers, and for 14 years the community tried to realign or reroute the traffic around the downtown. We were able to successfully accelerate that in negotiations with FDOT. So many of the agencies, the St. John's Water Management District obviously provides your consumptive use permit on a potable water supply. I know the city doesn't do it. They get it from the city of Cocoa, but in regulatory capacities, worked with them extensively in regard to assuring the water supplies and making sure there is compliance.
Thank you.
Cocoa Beach is virtually built out. Our taxes are somewhat high. Our tourism is at 2.5 million. We require a lot of public safety resources well above what's required by our 11,300 population. What approach would you recommend to maintain our future fiscal health and the quality of life in Cocoa Beach?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, it is an interesting community because while you talk about 11,300 people, whenever you're here, even in off-season, in the evenings and on weekends, you know you're servicing a population of much higher than that. And then when you have your seasonal fluctuations or snowbirds or influx of population, you've got to be prepared to provide services for that. How do you recommend maintaining future fiscal health is having conversations early. And when I say having conversations, just presenting information, and many of you have talked about it, as far as let's talk about what's going well for the economy and from a revenue stream in regard to property valuations, increase in probably intergovernmental revenues, franchise fees, but what maybe is a strainer in regard to pension requirements, union requirements, cost of health benefits, as well as normal inflation, and then you see where that's balanced or imbalanced. That provides a baseline. Then you have to look at every operation and talk about levels of service. Your strategic plan's wonderful. It's understandable. It people can recite it because it values public safety, it values low-density housing, it values the environment. So then you have to make sure your services and your service levels are aligned with that strategic plan, and you're actually meeting objectives that you set out to accomplish. So it would be, again, being very transparent. So all the people in the audience, as well as all the people on the dais and all the people who make up the organization, understand the numbers and what's driving the economy and what that forecast looks like, not just for next year, but for the next several years, so you can plan appropriately.
All right, thank you.
Skip, did you want to read the resident's question, or?
It disappeared. Basically, same question I asked you in our interview. How long do you feel it'd take for you to analyze our budget, observe and work with staff, learn about our geography and environment, interact with stakeholders before making major changes to our budget, staffing, policy that is in your wheelhouse? And beyond your time spent in the last 2 days at Cocoa Beach, how much time have you spent educating yourself about
Yeah,
Cocoa Beach?
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, thanks for that question. Not sure which person asked that. But in addition to the last 2 days in Cocoa Beach, obviously anybody who's a candidate at this level invests themselves in understanding a little bit about the community. So the first step is actually coming here before you decide to submit your name as an applicant and visiting and driving around. There's a French term called flaneur. And that's somebody who likes to walk around and get a feel for the community. So I did that. I went to the golf course, went to the tennis courts, checked out the skate park, checked out the facilities, and then went to random establishments, not saying, hey, I'm thinking about applying for city manager, but just getting a feel if it's an appropriate sense of place for me. Then you read the budgets, and there's no half the audience here I recognize from videos in the past and introduced myself because I was accustomed to them coming up and speaking before the council. So you watch old meetings, you watch budget discussions, you watch how the commissioners on the dais interact with each other, and you study up and you read the budgets and some of the strategic plans. So that's how I prepare myself. How long would it be before I make major initiatives? You know, as I described in the community meeting, if you want somebody who's just going to automatically tear apart a car and then rebuild it for fun, that's not me. I don't think you need that. I think you need somebody who's going to come in, observe the cadence of the culture, have communication with key stakeholders internally and externally of the organization, and then make informed decisions. You know, I'm going to know a great deal about the city before the first day, if I'm fortunate enough to be selected. Because I'm going to have a lot of conversations with certain people, including AJ and some of the staff and some of you, and read a lot of materials, watch some old meetings. But for the first 30, 60 days, I'm going to do a lot of listening and just getting out to the community and, again, meeting with internal and external stakeholders. Within 60 to 90 days, I should be pretty fluent and be able to present on behalf of the city in a very coherent method. And be able to make strategic recommendations on some minor issues. Major issues would probably come at the earliest during the next fiscal conversation.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would want to wrap up or state that you don't feel like you got to say, and, you know, within 5 minutes or less?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the commission, I've had a lot of opportunities to discuss things with the staff as well as each of you and some members of the public. So it's hard for me to imagine after this thorough conversations that there's something that has to be said. Again, just I want to express gratitude, first of all, for inviting me, and congratulations, because, you know, I think you have 5 good candidates who undoubtedly could do the job. You're not going to get to this point through a process like that if you're not qualified to do the job. It's really who's going to be the best fit, and who do you see leading this organization for the next 10 years. And I hope you think that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for us. Thank you. Next, we'll call in Mike Mclofflin.
Wait a minute. We got 2 more to go.
2 more.
I'm not gonna make it.
You gotta pee?
Drag the hell out of
Can we get diapers for Skip? That's right. Don't they just give those things away? I saw that one lady was driving across the country looking for a boyfriend.
Medicaid handle that?
I may ask for a break after we do them all.
Yeah, I think we have one
We've
actually.
already interviewed. This is more for the public to get
Yeah, I know. Oh, you can't find him?
No, I got him.
McLaughlin? All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Skip.
Yeah.
I got this. But you've already had extensive questions with him, so he'll meet with us as he comes back. So we'll start off with, within your current or last job, what would the community tell us about you? What would the elected officials tell us about you? And what would your staff tell us about you?
Thank you very much, Mayor and Commission. I definitely appreciate that question. I think within my last job, the community would tell you that I showed a consistent track record of being available. I always had an open door policy, and that was internally as well. I was always approachable, and I was always dependable. I couldn't always necessarily give them the answers that they may wanted to have heard, but I made sure that every single one of them understood that they were respected, they were heard, and they were considered a valuable member of the community. And also important, being honest with them in that follow-up. I believe my elected officials would also say that I hardworking, honest, competent, ethical, available, calm in high intense, chaotic situations, that I was professional, that I treated all of them the same, and that I communicated well with them and well with the community. My staff, I was fortunate that I've learned from every single person. I've learned something new from every single person I believe that I've worked with. And I believe that many of those would say the same about me. I believe they would find me available, a strong ethical leader, someone who set the example, someone who always remained available to them, somebody who was actually concerned about their welfare and their career. I was fortunate to learn that early on, that if you do care of others, your career normally has an opportunity to take care of itself. So I believe those are the three responses that you would get.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is your experience in dealing with the unique challenges of a coastal community? Coordinating with DEP, Water Management District, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So my experience is probably unique, maybe even so to any other candidate here today, as far as Barrier Island living goes. I was blessed to have been born and raised on a barrier island, Perdido Key, up in the Pensacola area. I have been immersed heavily the last 2 years in the barrier island community of Sand Key, which is just west of Tampa in Pinellas County. So I've been heavily immersed. If you recall what the last 2 years have been like in the Western Gulf, the hurricane season has kept us busy. So I've been very familiar with all demands, both growing up in the culture as well as serving the last 2 years through a very busy hurricane season with all those demands, emergency management type demands that exist. Also, working with DEP, water management districts, Army Corps of Engineers, and FDOT, it takes a lot of coordination, takes a lot of communication, takes a lot of open channels. There's a lot of opportunities for partnerships in those various organizations, and all those various organizations are critical to our operations, especially those of us that are on barrier islands. So I've grown up on the barrier islands. I've had the opportunity to work as the city manager and lead on barrier islands. I've been very lucky that I've had very great team in that capacity. But yes, life on the barrier island from a management perspective, from a resident perspective, from a business perspective is unique to a situation like probably like no other. And I believe I definitely have that experience of being able to successfully navigate in that environment.
Thank you. So Cocoa Beach is virtually built out. Our taxes are somewhat high. Our tourism is at around 2.5 million. We require public safety resources well above what we would be required by our population of 11,300. What approach would you recommend to maintain our future fiscal health and the quality of life in Cocoa Beach?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What I would like to do is work with the community, the commission and staff on identifying what is important to the residents and to the community as a whole. And then I would like to focus our resources on developing plans to address those issues and what they support. We have to have that support of our community in order to be able to keep their support after we've gained it. So we need to be communicating and listening to them. But as far as maintaining the future fiscal health and quality of life in Cocoa Beach, once you have those, your idea of where you want to go, then you need to decide what's important to you, what you can fund, what you may need to work through private and public partnerships, what you may need to work intergovernmental relationships for funding, and what you may need to work through grants. So to help some funding issues, I think we need to look in each of those three areas, but then we also need to have a realistic picture of what we can afford absent some of those things. So that'll give us a core idea of ABC is what we can afford, and we fund it through XYZ.
Okay. Our Vice Mayor has a question that was from the audience.
Public.
Yeah, from the
And
public.
I asked you this in our interview. How long would you feel it should take for you to analyze our budget, observe and work with staff, learn about our geography and environment, and interact with stakeholders before making major changes to our budget, staffing, or policy? And how does that fit your wheelhouse? And beyond your time spent the last 2 days in Cocoa Beach, how much time have you spent educating yourself on Cocoa Beach?
So I did I'll answer the second part first, and then we'll double back. Once upon starting to once I learned that this position was even open, I'd always heard throughout my life, growing up in Florida and spending a large amount of time, I'd always, of course, heard of Cocoa Beach. Very well marketed, fantastic community. Had been through the community several times throughout my life when I was living on the East Coast, and was always very impressed. Of course, had lived here, had never done business here. It had been simply more transitional. So once I learned of the opening of the potential and opportunity to come and be a member of this team, I deep dived about at least a minimum of 6 months, in some cases as much as a year, into your historical records for your agendas, your minutes, your videos. So I wanted to get a sense of, over the last 6 months to a year, what are the important topics to you? And I came up with a list of about 28 to 30 that I'd like to jump on immediately within the first 30, 60, 90 days. Some of them are more mundane that you would do during a normal transition process, and some of the things are more specific, like the work of the CRA or the Main Street Cocoa Beach. So there's quite a few specific things as well as other projects, but that's some of the dive-in research. Also, since we've been here, also have taken time on getting out in the community and talking to business owners, talking to fellow customers in restaurants and stores, asking them point blank, what do they think about the city? and what do they love about it? What makes them live here if they're a resident? And what's been the constant continual theme is the close-knit family type environment that is so pervasive here. And it is such a refreshing thing to see. It's extremely noteworthy, the close-knit and tightness of this family. So I've done research back the last 6 months to a year. Once we got on the ground, we also have done some one-on-one talking with people and listening to what they have to say. And really another part of really being the corner and definitely deciding this is a place for me is your staff. Your staff is off the charts fantastic. And I wish sincerely that I do have the opportunity to join them. It has been a fantastic experience from top to bottom. And so that's the total picture of my research. From a time perspective, from on a ground perspective, and then being fortunate during this process, you being exposed to your staff. And if you could also, excuse me, Commissioner Williams, if you could also repeat that first part of that question.
Said, how long would it take you to do the things you said about, you're analyzing stuff like you said the last 6 months, last year, before you made any major changes? And you mentioned how you would go about, you already made a list of 28 changes and you kind of.
Right. Well, yes, sir. Thank you very much. So the 28 to 30 topics are things that I would definitely want to be briefed upon. I've kind of broken them down. Within the first 30 days, I would like to, have during my onboard, I'd be able to focus on my onboarding process and the relationship building. Toward the end of that first 30 days as we're merging, I would like to take those 25, 30 specific points of information that I like to be brought up to date on and work with staff so I can be brought up to speed. And I'd like that to happen by the end of the 60-day mark. After that, after the 30 and 60-day mark, then at mark 90, I want to have developed plans for addressing those critical issues that still remain out of that 25 to 30.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add to that in 5 minutes or less as just a closeout, or you feel good with everything?
While I do feel good with everything, the thing that I really just want to say is thank you for this opportunity. I've admired this community from afar for a period of time. It has everything that you need to have and has been doing everything that you need to do to be a successful municipal organization. It has a strong commitment to sound financial practices. It has a strong commitment to public safety and has a strong commitment to infrastructure. Those are critical to a well-run organization, and this city has been knocking that out of the ballpark for quite a period of time. It's also critical to the redevelopment efforts while protecting the things that are important to the city. Those also had to take place. So in order for that redevelopment opportunities to take place, those are three things that you have to do. And the great thing about this community is you've already been doing them and you have an established track record. I would love to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, we'll move right along. Up next, we'll have Suzanne Sherman.
Oh, I took a nap between
You did. I even shook your chair and it didn't wake you up.
Hello, Suzanne.
I don't waste anything.
Hello.
Well, so in front of you, you should have a list of 5 questions, but we're really only going to focus on 1, 4, and 5. So I'll go ahead and read that. Within your current or last job, what would the community tell us about you? What would the elected officials tell us about you? And what would your staff tell us about you?
Thank you, sir. And before I start, I just want to say thank you all for the opportunity to come here before you. It's been a pleasurable experience in the process so far. So what the community, and so let me just back up my history for those who don't know, is I've spent most of my career in the cities of Palm Bay and the city of Satellite Beach. So in both cities, what my community would say about me is that I am visible, that I am engaged. I spent the longest part of my career in the city of Palm Bay. And in Palm Bay, I was very accessible to those in the community. So made myself visible in community meetings, HOA meetings, one-on-one with residents as needs arose, very active dealing with Palm Bay was having a lot of development, so a lot of interaction with the developers, a lot of issues to work through there. So I would say the community would say I was very engaged, that I was accessible. In all of these areas that we're going to talk about, one of the things that has been a hallmark of my leadership style is that I am a very good listener, and I listen to try to understand where people are coming from, what the issues are, so I can best try to solve whatever the particular problem might be. So with all the people in the community that I've interacted with, that's a hallmark of one of the things that they would always say, that I listened and try to help them solve their problems. And I believe I was successful in most cases, except for the typical, there's just no way I can fix what you want me to fix kind of situations. With my council members, my elected officials in both cities, I've always been very approachable. I do my very best to communicate what's going on at all levels of the organization to keep everyone informed. Typically, you all don't like surprises, and so we try not to spring those upon you. So communication has been a big deal. Again, being approachable, being accessible, making myself available based on the needs of the individual council members has always been something that is important. Making sure to successfully navigate through the challenges that you all face, that we face together in the city manager world, which is you all have different things that you want to do for the community, but you are a collegial body who is deciding things for the good of the community. So how to navigate through your individual needs, the community needs, and what the residents and the business community in this case are saying. So one of the things that I bring to the table is the ability to navigate through that, to really understand where each person is at, what the need is globally and individually, and work really hard to find a way to strategically get there to where we want to be as a group. I know not everyone's always going to be happy. We're not always going to get to the place we want to be, but we'll do a good job working together to accomplish that. And with staff, any of the staff that I've worked with, I've always been, I describe myself as a servant leader. So I'm going to do my very best to serve you and support you as a member of staff, to help you do your job and whatever that looks like. Everyone has different needs. I don't believe you treat them equitably and fairly, but you also don't cookie cutter, because everyone needs something different. Some people need more of a mentor. Some people are well seasoned. They just need to be left alone to do their job and do it well. But my job as a leader, as a servant leader, is to serve them too. And so I do that every day, coming in, checking in with people. I get to know my team. I like that they get to know me, so we are on first name basis. I like to be very engaged with them, as well as not just being in the office. Like, I don't want them just to come to me, but I want to go to them. So in a lot of the different positions I've held, I've always made it a point to go to them, to even do field days out there with the crews, helping with something, and just being a part of what they're doing. That's part of how you build trust, and that's also how you take that listening to another step. Now you're proving yourself that you care enough to take time to do some things with them, and that's always been a really good strategy. So I think my staff would tell you that I'm a person of integrity, that I will listen to them, that I am supportive of them, that I advocate for them, and also that I will have their backs. I say that to also add in the measure of I hold my staff accountable. So there's expectations of how we're going to perform, how we're going to do our jobs. The citizens have expectations, the elected officials have expectations, I have expectations. I find it's very important to set those expectations and make sure that they're followed through with. And so with me, I'm a very open, honest, let's just talk about it kind of person. I'm happy to work with you to work through things on a staff level, but I will hold people accountable. So if we're not getting things done the way we need to get them done, then I will address that because that's part of the job you hire me to do. But those are some of the things that I think that the community, the electeds, and the staff would say about me.
Thank you.
All right. What is your experience in dealing with the unique challenges of a coastal community, coordinating with DEP, Water Management District, Florida Fish and Wildlife, Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT?
Thank you. So Satellite Beach is the coastal community I have the most experience in. Shall I talk about beach renourishment as a topic, perhaps? That's always a fun one. So a lot of experience dealing with some of those types of issues. Now, I was not there when beach renourishment started in the city of Satellite Beach most recently, but certainly aware of some of the challenges that represents. And in that example, and in all these types of similar examples where you're dealing with various state agencies, there's two important things that I find lead to success. One is having really good, solid communication with the project managers, the people in charge on the agency side, knowing what's happening, keeping abreast of the schedule and schedule changes, things like that. But also you have to be very close to the community and communicate to the residents and the community what's happening on those particular projects. I think if you do that, you get a better chance of greater success because you shared with the community what to expect. You know, if something is going to be impacted in terms of an amenity they're used to, like at a beach, and suddenly the beach access is closed because of renourishment. One of our beach accesses obviously was a staging area for our renourishment. Making sure that that's communicated well, frequently sometimes to the residents, and also the expectations of when is that over and I can go back to the way things were before. Some things are very controversial and outside of our control at times. So our job oftentimes is just to make sure we're getting ahead of it. We're opening the door to talk about it. Maybe I can't prevent it, maybe I can't stop it, but I can do the best that I can to try to share with you what is going on. Experience with FDOT is a pretty big one too. The first time I was in Satellite Beach was when a lot of the changes were going on in A1A. And the pedestrian crossing discussions were happening. So that was a lot of challenging discussion, a lot of change that was going to be going on for the community that, you know, there were a lot of people that were very upset about that. And it was one of those things that I was at the table when we were advocating with the former city manager to get FDOT to change a few things. Now they were pretty sure they were going to do certain things, and we tried our best to get them off of, you know, all of the list of improvements they wanted to make, and we had some success in that. But we know it's their road, and sometimes we can't get everything we want to accomplish. But we had some compromise, and that was a win for us, and we were glad about that. And then, of course, the communication with the residents is what came after that. So happy to answer any other questions you have on that, but that's what I would share on that topic.
All right, we'll go to the next one. So Cocoa Beach is virtually built out. Our taxes are somewhat high. Our tourism is around 2.5 million, and we require public safety resources well above what would normally be required for a population of 11,300. What approach would you recommend to maintain our future fiscal health and the quality of life in Cocoa Beach?
Thank you. So I think one of the things that you really have to start with is, and there have been managers before and lots of people involved in this up to this point, but I think when I come in with a very objective view of the financial situation of the city. Where are we at? What are we spending our resources on today? And do those current state expenditures, do those things make sense for where we want to be? Because a lot of this is about planning for the future. So I think when you first look at that, you begin to get a sense, once you understand the needs of the community, the needs of the commissioners, you begin to get a sense of, are we spending all of our resources in the right manner? Are we putting them in places that make sense for what we're trying to accomplish. And if the expenditures aren't lining up with the goals, that's one of the first places you look at. You know, are you properly allocating those resources? In terms of revenues, I think I don't claim to know all about your current financial states. I've done my homework, but I think there might be some potential to get some increases in revenues through some different, potentially, fee structures and things, but those are all things we could look at. But I think really a hallmark of where you're at when you're in a community that's built out, and this is similar to Satellite Beach, where you're mostly built out, you've got a little bit of redevelopment that's coming, you've got one big hotel, obviously, and things like that, but you really have to be a good steward of what you have today as you plan for the future. And sometimes you have to, not sometimes, you really have to start thinking longer term, because you're not going to get, the ARPA windfall for a lot of cities, I call it a windfall, was a surprise. It enabled some cities to do some good projects, and some cities did other projects we could talk about. But the bottom line is those types of one-off things are not going to happen. How can we be good stewards of what we've got today? So you got to really look deep into the weeds of the finances and see where you're spending money. Does it line up with my policy direction? If it doesn't, you need to shift it. And also, as I mentioned to several of you on the one-on-ones, looking objectively at how we're actually doing what we're doing. Are we being smart with our resources? Are we operationally, have we set ourselves up to be as efficient and as lean in that particular area of operation as possible? Could we tighten it up? Is there a way to blend internal work with outsourcing work? These are all things that should be considered if you look at it from a little bit more of a business mindset. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, I got to follow up on that. Would you agree that Satellite Beach has one of the highest ad valorem property taxes in the county?
Yeah, I think they're second right now, last I looked. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And currently, Cocoa Beach is pretty much close to the bottom.
Yeah, you're around 6 now, as I understand it, or about to be.
Yeah, but we're down there. So it just seemed like kind of watching, I get to see those every year, and it's always part of our budget analysis and our millage determination, what other cities are at and everything. It just seemed kind of like, Satellite Beach, anytime they needed money, the only lever they ever pulled was raise the ad valorem property taxes. So what was your perspective on it? What was going on when all you guys did was just raise the property taxes?
Well, in Satellite Beach, when I was there the first time, we actually had a citizens budget committee, and so we actually went through that discussion with residents that were on the committee. And I will tell you that because Satellite Beach is strictly just really a single-family home community, there's commercial, but very little. And you know what the beachfront looks like. It's nothing like the Cocoa Beach beachfront by any stretch of the imagination. So they really are truly limited in terms of their opportunities for additional fees or costs or strategies. Certainly they have a stormwater fee that they put in decades ago, and they've gradually built that up to help with stormwater needs, as an example. But there's only so much you can do. So at that point in time, they vetted that with the residents as much as you can through a budget committee process. They had public meetings on it, and I'm going back to, I guess, probably around 2016 timeframe. And they decided, in talking with the public, that was their best option, and that was where they wanted to live. I wasn't the city manager at the time, but that's what the decision was. The community supported it in terms of they weren't coming with, pitchforks to council meetings, I guess. But that was the decision they made, and that was ultimately the policy decision of council, and with the citizen input that they received. But I think also, like I said, that they were limited in terms of options because of the lay of the land in Satellite Beach.
Thank you.
Yes,
There was one more question from the public, and I asked you this during our interview. How long would you feel it should take for you to analyze our budget, observe, work with staff, learn about our geography and environment, and interact with stakeholders before making major changes to our budget, staffing, and policy, within your experience?
That's a great question. So I come in with a little bit of it's helpful to me that I'm already somewhat familiar with the area and the community, having been in Brevard County for 25 years, and also just familiarity with some of the beachside issues that we deal with here locally. as a manager coming in, dealing with all those get the lay of the land type things, I would say that within the first few months, you're really getting everything kind of sorted out. You're, especially with a city of our size here, it doesn't take too long to understand who the major players are in terms of the community, to get to know the members of your team, to understand what is important to the commission. It doesn't take too long to look under the cover of the financial picture, because those are the priorities, to understand how everything is working today. And I will tell you that my approach historically coming into a position like this has been, I don't typically make knee-jerk wholesale changes to things really early unless there's a significant problem. If there's a problem of spending money where it should not be spent, if there's a violation of policy, if there's a significant issue, I will deal with that right up front. Other things I will take my time, because what I want to do, and by time I mean the first 3 months or so, I want to do is truly understand, listen again, like I said, to all the players, get all the pieces as much as I can so I understand the full picture, and then make decisions based on that. It doesn't take that long to understand the financial picture of a city. It really doesn't. So that's what I would say. About 3 months or so, you're going to be really up to speed on those things. We'll have really gotten a sense of the culture of the city. But that takes a lot of engagement. I mean, it's there's time looking at things, studying things, reading things, but there's a lot of time with you all, with the staff, with the community, making sure that I'm understanding where everyone is at.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to close out with that you haven't already said? You got about 5 minutes or less.
5-minute elevator speech? No, just kidding. I would just say that, it's been a pleasure working through this process with you all. You have an amazing community. It was wonderful meeting some of the residents last night at the meet and greet. You can be very proud of your staff on the whole. All the folks that I talked to, very, very proud to work here. You've got a really good sense of morale in the city among the staff, and I think that you have a very special city, and you already know that because you're serving on the commission, but you have a very special city, and it's very unique in Brevard County, and I would be proud to work here, as I can tell you all are proud to serve and lead here. And I just thank you so much for the opportunity to get to know all of you a little bit more, and to get to meet your staff, and look forward to what is to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So do you guys want to do just a quick little break here, pee break, and
While you're coming up with
whatever?
your numbers?
Yeah, I've already done my numbers, but let's do a
So we're not doing numbers.
we'll do a 10-minute recess. So be back here. Well, we'll say 7 minutes. Let's be back here at 3:30. All right, let's call this meeting to order. All right, here we go. So guys, do your top 2 or 3, check mark, and then we'll turn us in
Well,
to
put the
city
number
clerk.
next to him.
Don't put a number next to him.
Whatever.
No, because,
ABC. What?
okay.
Backwards, see? So are we doing ranking or no?
No, you just put
I did both. It doesn't matter. Well, we'll just see if we get a consensus, and then we'll discuss.
Your name is on it. Thank you. Appreciate your business. Only doing your top 3.
You did 7.
X.
Just in case.
Let the suspense begin.
Drum roll.
All right, Commissioner Williams, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, before we finish here, we have to come to, we're all in consensus, comfortable at choosing somebody, or we go for an alternate method.
Right. So, I thought he was suggesting we're up to 1997, the history of Cocoa Beach, and we want to progress to 2005.
I like the gap
History.
filler that you had provided before,
History of
and
Cocoa Beach.
I just wanted to pick back.
Well, yeah, I'm just telling you.
But I also agree with what you
We had a 3-2 vote before, and we got people to roll over
Yeah.
and say they'd support somebody, and then it didn't work out. Or we chose number 2 on the list, because
was not a good idea.
4 people picked number 2, and then that didn't work out.
So you're saying unanimous, it needs to be,
Well, even if, let's say, we have a 3-2, and then 2 people say, yeah, I could go with that person, I'm fairly comfortable with that person, then when they go into the negotiations, they know that they have the support of the whole commission. If you're not going to have the support of the whole commission, then we need to look at a plan B.
I got a thought. If we all have the one person that we've picked, each of us picked that one person, they get 5 votes from us.
Yeah, that's
Whether
it.
they're first or second, doesn't matter.
No.
Because I just put a check.
No, I don't go for that.
I just put a
so
mark.
did anyone write
So
in
you're
anyone
saying,
other than
so
those 5?
Skip, you're saying if your number 1 pick isn't number 1 with all of us, then we don't.
No, I
I
think
pick number 1 and number 2, I can live with either one.
I think what we're talking
I can
about
live with
here
number 1 or
is,
number 2, but if you check 5 people and she puts a vote up for 5, and then it looks like somebody got 5 votes.
Gavel in.
we already did, I'm
It
waiting,
wasn't your
yeah.
number 1 pick, then you be, wait a minute, let's do this again. And I had her print out more sheets so we can do it again.
I think, I personally think there was 2 that clearly stood out.
Well, we're gonna find out
And we're
here.
going to see if
We're gonna find
we're
out
all
here
in
in a couple
consensus.
Commissioner, did you have something you were
Maybe 30
asking?
minutes, that's a
So I
lot
just
of
asked,
data.
did anyone write anybody in?
I did not.
Okay.
Did anybody write anybody in?
No, but I do.
Yeah, I did not.
But I do want to consider, after we
Well, let's-
find out
Yeah,
the
I-
2,
I think we
let's
need to see what we come
discuss
up with.
about the 2, and then we'll discuss if there's any optional.
Well, we may have
Ideas.
to iterate. We may have to iterate.
I think if we come out with 1, then we're done.
Okay.
You ready?
Drum roll?
My touchscreen's not working.
Are you going to call this meeting back to order?
Yeah, I already did.
Oh.
You guys were out there talking because we're late. You know that question you always ask me when it's going to start?
What time does a 10-minute recess end? Wait,
Yeah.
that doesn't work as well.
So. So as you guys know, we're just waiting for the results here.
There we go. This is your results. So, I have 3 minutes record if you would like.
Wait a minute.
I don't
This is-
understand.
How
This
does
is-
Hutcherson
Why
vote?
does
Because
Tamalte
it says
get
1,
10?
2, and 3, because it's adding it because you're supposed to be just check marks. So don't look at the side and don't look at the total.
Put X's in for 'em.
Wait, what am I supposed to
They
do?
did
Think
their
of the
one,
numbers as an X for now, right?
I can put in
Four
X's,
listed
but this is
ranking.
your 1, 2, and 3s when you were rating them. So if we do X's,
Okay, so
Mike.
Mike got 3,
yes,
Suzanne got
3.
3,
Nate
Nate
got
got
3.
3.
Nobody got more than 3.
No one got more than 3.
Okay,
And Mr. Hine got 2.
okay. So,
You were all over the place.
Impressive. I did not expect that kind
I
of.
didn't either. I thought there was a clear couple of them. So, well, I'll say I thought we had some very qualified candidates. I think, they all did well. I think, in my opinion, I thought a couple stood out. I did like Suzanne. I thought she was very qualified. I liked Mike. We'll just stick with the top ones. Nate, I liked the fact that Nate was a Cocoa Beach resident, as well. The way I see it is if you live in Cocoa Beach, this is your home. If you work in Cocoa Beach, this is your job. So for me, it does mean something to me to have some stake of ownership in this process. I wanted to respect this process and see it through. That being said, I actually also interviewed our current.
Let's stay with the list.
Let's
Okay.
focus.
So,
Do we want to
I want
revote?
to ask Josh,
Yeah,
you only gave a number one, is that correct?
yeah.
Okay. So if you were to have to pick a number two, who would it be?
Yeah, and I thought through that, and I intentionally selected the one.
Okay, but if you had to, you're saying you couldn't?
No,
you
so-
couldn't pick a number two?
What I'll say is, and have a lot of thoughts on this, but just in terms of talking through my thought process, some of the priorities that came forward from me is already a current city manager, right? I think we have a set of excellent candidates here. We got really incredibly smart people. They're talented, they're professionals, they're sincere. So I don't think we came up short on that. As I tried to go through and differentiate among good people, some of the differentiating factors that say, hey, in terms of low risk, high yield for Cocoa Beach, already being in the job as a city manager, as the head, as the chief executive, adds weight, right? I really think an MBA stood out to me. Already being trained as a chief executive of a organization, right? Having served on a barrier island, I think we've got two folks that qualify there. Having been through as a chief executive a hurricane response, or four, I think those matter a lot. And when I go through, I've got a top one, and then I've got basically another three that all group right together. And so if I'm gonna give you one, I can give you one. And then I split out into giving you a response of four. And again, a lot of talented folks. Yeah, so no, I don't think I have a
You're
second.
going to put
I
it up.
have
I changed it all
a
to one, so you guys can see it a
fourth,
little
fourth,
better.
and fourth.
Okay, so to look at this chart, there's three of us that picked Summers, okay? Would you feel comfortable with Summers?
No.
Okay.
Without and I think Nate is a sharp dude, and I'm looking forward. I'm delighted that he and his family have moved to Cocoa Beach. Credible experience in terms of professional, high-level work, clearly intelligent, competent, super great person to have in Cocoa Beach. And if he were coming to me as Space Force, I'd hire him yesterday.
Okay,
right?
okay,
So in my other career, yes,
You don't
not
have to
here.
explain it, you said you wouldn't pick him. So Jeremy, would you pick Nate?
I wouldn't for a lot of those same reasons.
Okay.
Excellent executor.
Incredible
but
dude.
I don't know how that would translate to running a small city.
Okay,
Um,
so,
And would you just zero them out, you change the X's,
I
take the
just-
ranking away?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, so.
I
Because
still
one of the
have
other
to.
angles I was gonna ask Commissioner Tumulty is if he could offer a number for the two X's, that would be
Well-
another approach, but this may be
Well,
a.
another approach would be to only go with two picks.
Yeah.
And you picked three, the third one being Mike Mclofflin. That would put your 1 and 2 as Hine and Sherman. So basically, if you took your third off and
Well, hang on.
he
The one,
took
two,
his
three-
third, I'm saying just two, Then that would only give 2 votes for Mike McLaughlin.
Were you ranking yours?
One,
You
2, and
pass
3,
out
I
the
kinda
sheets
arbitrarily
again,
said.
another sheet,
Okay.
those sheets.
It was more like Josh. It was like, these 3 I could.
So we didn't talk about Suzanne.
I can't do it.
Really?
I had a strong hang up this would be Robin 2.0, but I think she hit the ground running. I think she's got good personal skills.
I don't think that's a 2.0. I think that's a
No,
different.
that's my going in position.
Oh, I see.
That was my going in position, resume based, hey, why'd you get fired, yada, yada. Through this process, I think she's solid.
Oh, yeah, that was a coup that happened with 3 people that probably broke sunshine laws.
Yeah, but Commissioner Hutcherson did
Okay,
vote for
we're gonna
Suzanne.
vote.
He did, Commissioner Hutcherson
We're gonna
did
vote
vote
again.
I know
Suzanne.
that, but if his
What are we voting now?
third vote didn't go in, then she.
1 and 2,
3
just a
votes.
1 and a 2.
All right.
Oh, I see what you're
Your
saying.
number one.
Yeah, I thought you,
And number 2. on the-
yeah, I thought you missed that he had
So
voted.
that would be.
Number 1 and number 2 on the sheet.
Gotcha. I'm just worried that we,
Your first choice and your second choice.
I mean, there's one consistent piece, but otherwise, we are all over the place. There's not consensus here.
So we're going with
Hang
a
on.
number 1 and a number 2.
Hang on, before we go, do we want to walk through some of the characteristics we're looking for?
I think there's worth a discussion on how we thought through this process. It may generate a change in thoughts. But if we just go with our same thoughts.
Let's just whittle it down a little bit here. It can take forever. So
Well,
if you got a number 1 and a number 2.
What I'm saying is, we're about to vote with the same set of information we
Yeah.
have. Why not introduce some more information before we rinse and repeat the same thing?
I think Josh brings up a point. We're gonna get to the same exact thing that we got to last time. unless we-
Not exactly, because we're only voting for 2 people this
Feels
time.
All right, let's, all right, 1 and 2.
We're only voting for 2 people.
But we're using the same set of information we
All
have.
right, let's discuss
That's-
it.
What
It
I'm
takes
saying
longer
is,
to
I'd
argue
like
about
to
it than
hear
to
each of
discuss
your
it.
thoughts. We haven't discussed this
Right.
Discuss it, let's
amongst
go.
ourselves.
Not very many topics this commission is not pretty close on, and this was.
Yeah, to be spread,
Yeah.
like, this surprised me. So Commissioner Hutcherson, would you walk us through your thought processes and kind of your experience over the past 2 days?
I asked for 2 things. I want solid budget responsibility and a good culture fit. That's the 2 characteristics of any candidate. They're all great. It was almost a mirror of what this commission makeup is. They all had great strengths in their own regard, but I thought Mike Hine was super solid transactional. He will, without a doubt, step right in. It might not have been as good a personality fit as like a Suzanne, I think. So those are my 2. And then I think Mike's also got a great fit, like McLaughlin. That was the basis for this. Nate, I was worried about the transition, honestly, and this was a discussion point, is it civilians struggle without a career in the military transition to civilian, does that translate? Super qualified, but I just don't know if that would translate to.
Did he tell you about the
Project.
2 years he spent in
Yeah.
civies?
Yeah.
So I agree with you on Nate, and honestly, I really wish we could have seen him in person because you just don't get the type of interaction on a video
He's
screen.
here in Cooper Beach somewhere.
I know, he's just,
Let's all go kick, no.
but, so I was actually rooting for Nate. The problem is I just didn't get to feel the as intimate of a connection being on a video screen. So unfortunately, I didn't choose him because of that. I'll tell you my issue with Mike Hine is the Google searches. If you Google search, anytime we have an issue, there's going to be the media backlash on, well, why'd you hire this guy with this kind of a track record or past, whether or not it was legitimate or not. It's going to create a bunch of talk if we go through with it. I'm just trying to, for the reputation of Cocoa Beach, I'm just trying to squash any type of potential backlash we could have for choosing somebody knowing that there's issues out there in Google.
Well, I looked through all that information on all the social media, newspaper articles, Google, all that. And most of the time you only see one side of the story. Yes, the information's out there. Yes, most people read information, and if it fits their mindset, they believe it, okay? So I don't necessarily hold everything I read about somebody against them, especially when I get to meet them face to face and talk to them about them.
I liked him. I thought he interviewed well. I just don't want that extra scrutiny or baggage
all right.
associated with the city.
So, Josh, you had more you wanted to say?
Well, I was interested to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think, Nate, there's some things I guess we're not allowed to say about people. But he did divulge that he lives here. He did divulge he's got three boys that are going to be in the community. He's already moved here. You know, he's worked at a level way higher than what it takes to run the city of Cocoa Beach. He told me a lot of stories about where he had to get his feet wet and how to work with people, coordinating people, a lot of real-time emergency stuff. And I just I was, at the beginning, I tried to throw him out, ask AJ. I mean, ask the headhunters. I'm like, he won't come to the meeting, he won't meet with the public, he ain't gonna be here for the meet and greet. Just tell him, you know, thanks for the opportunity, but it's a no-go.
So I
was the same way.
If he's down selected, I do want an in-person interview, so I don't think if he's the candidate, it would be a final today. I do want to follow on here. That was my feedback to Colin Basics.
Well, we could do that.
So I did something a little different. So he wasn't at our meet and greet last night. So I conducted it as a meet and greet. I talked to him about his family, about, you know, what he's been through, how he went from an Air Force military brat, that's what they call him, to stay in the Air Force for 20 years. You know, he said, hey, when I was growing up, I didn't want to be in the Air Force, but guess what? He spent 20 years, and it's because he had a passion for it. And that's what it's about. We got in a conversation about that, about doing something you have a passion for, and it's not a job. And that's what he conveyed to me, that this was a passion.
And if you,
To work for a community and basically be a servant.
and if he's good, like we had a couple of good ones. We had you know, Micah and we had Jim McKnight, and they lasted a pretty long while. The longevity for Summers could be quite a while if he does his job well, and I think he has the wherewithal to be able to transition between commissions as they transition.
So it's not just that also, but he does have the experience here. Yes, he lives in Cocoa Beach, but he also was at Patrick.
I know.
And so understands, just like Suzanne, understands the culture here, and they know all the players. They know the county commissioners, they know state reps, and all of the, you know, question number 4, FDOT, Army Corps of Engineers, water departments, everything, all that, they know those people. They know who to call. They have those contacts and that information.
And he also knows how Congress works.
Yes, absolutely he does. And that's a lot of sort of direction we want to go, in my opinion, is to get.
I need to change one of my things. You guys are making some sense here on some of this stuff.
So let's just do the iterative process. Vote again for put a number 1 and a number 2, and we'll see where we end up. And doesn't mean that we're done.
Before we vote, I want to hear Josh. Because Josh said.
Oh, I thought you already finished.
No, that was Commissioner Tumulty. We both look good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm going to defer. You're better looking.
I don't think so.
A little bit smarter.
Oh.
Okay, so all around, I'm going to defer. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go. Again, not just the 5 folks that we have here. I appreciate that. I think we got 49 folks took the time to dig in, and we heard from Gabe at recent meetings that he dug in and spent 2 solid weeks researching and trying to really pull together. So I think of the 5, the cream of the crop to really rise up, I think we've got solid folks. So please, if anything I'm saying here is taken as dismissive of these folks, it's not, right? Started with watching the residents. So this for me was kind of a 3-parter, right? It was the meet and greet, and that was a critical piece. watching how folks interacted, how were they with residents, and that's a big piece, right? That's got to be there. There's got to be that bedside manner, and it's critical. And if I can't see it, I agree with Commissioner Hutcherson. Not being able to see it, I'm blind to something. So watched there. A big part of it was also the time they got to spend with staff, in the sense that staff got, right? Because they're going to be the victims of this. I mean that tongue in cheek, but they are very much. We do a good job here, they win. We do a bad job here, we take a bet, and they lose, right? If this doesn't work, because they're gonna be the ones shouldering the load. They're gonna be ones pulling together the seams. Hold on, I'm gonna finish. Talking to staff, overwhelmingly, the one thing I hear is, "Oh my gosh, can we keep AJ?" Because they love AJ, right? So kudos to you, sir. You have impacted them in a way, in a handful of weeks. You have their love and loyalty, so amazing. But I said, okay, got it. We put him in the position saying that we're going to do this, and he can apply, right? Whoever we put in that position is not specific to AJ, but he can apply. And they're like, I know, but come on. And it's like, okay, quietly, and I will not share your names, you got to interact with folks. Who stuck out to you? And that's my second piece of the interview, right? Before we ever got to today. And there was one name that consistently across, there's only one person that this name didn't show up for. And I tried to talk across as many as I could. And for me, the fact that guy showed up in every one of theirs says something to me. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't stand behind, support, and faithfully, dutifully follow the lead of any one of these folks. And they will, because we've got an amazing staff. But for them, that name stood out. That means a lot to me. So then I went into today with kind of going in hypothesis, and I'll tell you, I enjoyed the heck out of all of these interviews, because these are neat folks. These are folks I'd be friends with because they're high quality. I gave you my notes that really coming out of this, and I agree with the statement that the recruitment firm has said that any one of these 5 could do the job. I think that's true. They wouldn't have put them forward if they didn't think so, and I think you guys all agree these are decent folks. If I'm going to differentiate them, the fact that that Nate hasn't, I didn't see him in the meet and greet. I didn't see him he didn't mix with staff. That's 66% of my data is gone. The fact that he's been in the roles and responsibilities he's been in was the main reason I was asking that the firm include that in recruiting, right? Installation command, FSS, those kinds of roles. But I also know that those roles are different than what AJ does. So, and I know I'm long-winded, but let me finish. If Nate came in and was an assistant city manager, and I saw him for 2 years in this kind of role, 6 months in the role, and he was killing it, on all other accounts, he's a really, really neat, highly successful person. But when I was at the Pentagon, I didn't do anything like what he does. And so time at the Pentagon, time in command, they're different. They're different, right? I've lived in both of these worlds, not the same, just doesn't work the way. So can Nate do it? Probably, but I'm taking a bet that I'm not going to have to live with the staff will, right? Suzanne, I am so freaking impressed with her. Like, she's neat people, and I hope that we remain friends. But when I've got folks that have already been city managers and lived in that chief executive job, being the vice president and being the president are different. And so if we didn't have anybody that had been the city manager, I think she deserves a strong look. But I've got city managers here. I've had folks.
She was a city manager at Palm Bay for 5 years.
Palm Bay.
I thought she was assistant city manager.
No, full president.
Full time. And that what happened was, just like any city manager, it's a volatile position.
Yes, and that's happened with others.
Well,
so I take that back. That's my mistake. I think she impressed me today. The standout, when I look at education and certification, was Mike's MBA. We have some,
Which Mike?
McLaughlin. That was a standout for me. We have some opportunities for growth and improvement in our financial management and in the way we aggressively pursue the leveraging of our visitors and our tourists to provide sources of revenue into the city. Having an MBA sitting in the seat, to me, would be a distinct advantage. There's a reason I've hired them into my organization from a Space Force side of things. They think differently, they act differently, they're trained differently. That one weighs in. McLaughlin and Suzanne both have Barrier Island experience, and McLaughlin has the hurricane response, that emergency management. I think somebody noted that, with how things are going at the federal level, there's having local ability to respond and manage hurricane response and disaster response. And I think our greatest vulnerability, short of a tidal wave, is hurricanes. That's why, for me, head and shoulders, it's far and away. It's McLaughlin. So that's Josh's piece.
So Commissioner Jackson, so you were the only one that voted less than 2. You wouldn't be in a position to vote a second. Because it's 1 and then 4 number 2s.
If I'm voting a second, there's I think 2, at least 2 that really are kind of on the same level.
The only way to do it is to take both of us that voted 3 and go down to 2 and try to put it lock in. So either us back out or you add that.
Both of you, both.
I just did 2.
I did
So if
2.
you guys.
Okay,
just
so
do
yeah, I
2.
think now is the time to go to what
And
Commissioner
we'll-
Williams was saying is, all right, now you've heard everybody's, let's put our 2.
All right, put your 2 down. Give them to Karen, and let's see. Put a number 1 and a number 2 on them, please.
Putting A and B.
No, 1 and 2. We'll see where we get.
Are we putting a number 1 and 2?
Just
Yeah.
do 1 and 2.
The number 1 that you put down is for your number 1 choice, and the number 2 is for your number 2 choice. And I wanted to say one thing, Josh, it doesn't have to be in before this vote, is that because Nate Summers wasn't here for the staff and for the meet and greet, my questions in the interview were all about, his interactions with the public and his interactions with staff in his career.
Yeah.
So I got a feel for there. And
So I need
it
to
was all
see
good.
it. I mean, you can tell me all day long how nice a person you are, but, and I'm not saying he's not, but, and it makes sense that you would ask that's a logical, line of questioning. I get it.
What's the holdup on Hine?
Me?
Commission-wide, me and Skip with all the 2.
Main thing for me is
Google
public
Oh,
perception.
that's right, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Public perception.
I'm not, I don't.
Mine splits out into
Hey, let me see if I got something else in there.
Hyman and Suzanne.
Because keep in mind, Hine was the only one that got unanimous down selection. So
Right.
on resume, on cover letter, the initial content, I think.
He's got a really strong application package and a super sharp dude.
I thought he interviewed well. I liked him on the
Did we already
interview.
vote?
I'm waiting.
But I just, for public perception, I think we have a lot of good candidates that it doesn't really make sense to have to worry too much about that. We can do
I
it.
don't think you need to worry about that. With past history, what happened to forgive and forget?
No, I get it. I'm just saying,
Forgive and forget.
I don't care about it. But what I'm saying is the public does, and they will come out in
Did you
droves.
did you give her your sheet?
I'm wrestling.
And that,
I am too. I really struggle.
Well, this is the first time you guys been through this. Tim and I have been through it before.
Is there an alternate?
we can do what we choose to do with a consensus. So
Let's
we
get
get
through
these
this
numbers.
Yeah.
And then after we do that, we can have some more discussion. If we want to take this, hey, you know what? I want to meet Nate in person, maybe. If that's something that you said you're lacking that data, why would we not wait a couple more days, a week, whatever it takes, and you can meet him? Are we
I mean, we really.
I don't know if that would be fair
No,
to the
our-
other candidates or not.
Our goal was, we can do whatever we want to do, but our goal is to make a decision by next Thursday.
Okay, so let me throw this out there.
Doesn't have to be next Thursday, but that's what.
No, because,
I think there needs to
Hold
be
on.
discussion about a do-nothing option, meaning,
Well, we'll do that after this vote.
okay.
Let's do this
Yeah, let's-
vote. We
Let's
gotta-
respect the process, we'll finish the process, and then we'll go on what we all think is best.
Do you need me to go to JJ's office and get a dart off his dartboard?
I'm wrestling between Hine and Sherman.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Let me throw this out there. I think all but one of them intends to live in Cocoa Beach.
That's true.
a piece of it.
That's true.
Sherman's
I
not going to
personally-
live in Cocoa Beach. She's going
I
to stay in
understand.
Palm
I
Bay.
understand, but I think there's an equity piece that is valuable.
well, I don't even think that should be considered, because we put that out there at the beginning.
Yeah, Hine said he's
That,
definitely
you know,
moving.
prior to this process, we said, hey, we're going to allow folks to, our new city manager to live outside of Cocoa.
Well, that's what got rolled in. Was not my input.
It was not my input
That
either,
was not my input.
but,
Okay.
We didn't
I
vote on.
respect that.
We
I
didn't
think
vote
it's
on that line
I
item.
think it's a plus. We didn't want to eliminate, we got 49 candidates that were willing to move from Brevard County.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the wide net we spread.
Right.
Okay? I think it's a plus if they divulge to
Yeah.
us that they want to live, they plan to live in Cocoa Beach. So that just gives them a plus up.
Okay.
But it doesn't disqualify them,
Exactly.
because some people wouldn't have chose
I
to
respect
even
that.
apply because they're not going to move to Cocoa Beach. I mean,
I agree.
we get it.
I reconsider that. Absolutely. That makes, it's a subtle difference for sure, but it's a difference.
All right.
I I had my head turned. I had my head turned.
Oh, I snuck
I
it
didn't,
past you.
dang it.
It's tough.
Who picked out this picture?
Some solid candidates.
Why isn't it not like a surfer or something?
It is.
Graham.
That's not a surfer?
why is it not ice cream or something that makes us
I don't know,
salivate?
that looks like potpourri or something.
It is potpourri.
Oh, does it say that?
I can
You know, I hate the
smell it.
pictures that come up on the screen and they don't tell you what it is.
Tim, you can't smell it?
Should I do it that way?
Scratch
Scratch and
it.
sniff?
Scratch
I'm
it.
just not gonna do 1 and 2 on here, I'm just gonna do
That
one.
was Skip.
Made it
I'm not
change.
going through all of this.
So
All right, I'll let them know.
as a
She
city
was,
manager
great,
at
she
one
came
point,
up,
right?
that she came up
I
young.
was surprised it was this divergent.
Assistant.
Why is everybody's mind skipping?
I was expecting this. I was
And I thought-
totally
And
expecting,
somebody was like, "Oh, she's assistant manager." And
especially with you two guys, because you're new. All three of you guys are new to the process.
The process
That's what I was
doesn't influence-
saying,
I mean,
that
I
she's,
understand down selecting, yada, yada.
You have, you have
Understands Brevard.
capacity
Those are the people.
to think about things in more different ways than I think about things. in
Sure,
my
the other folks can come in and
I'm probably a 5-channel guy, you're a 15-channel guy.
Yeah.
I put this as one this time versus 1 and 2. It's hard. So you guys can.
Why
see.
didn't you put the
Talk
ones
about,
and twos?
talk about people while, you know.
No, put the ones and
I know they're
twos.
watching.
So that
Start over.
didn't move it.
She's gonna put the ones and twos up.
same.
That didn't move it.
She's gonna change the
Did
ones
somebody
and
not
twos.
follow the rules?
And then forget the total column because it's gonna add them up.
City clerk didn't follow the rules.
I'm,
Close it out and change it to the ones and twos.
I need a 2.
Did you not put ones and
He
twos?
put 1 and 1.
They're all one, yeah.
He put 1 and
Correct
1.
that.
A 1 and a 2.
But I think we can see what that math's gonna be.
You know what? I am interested in what you guys have to say. What,
Let's get these
I want to
votes.
hear, what do you guys, who do
We
you
already
think?
voted, so let's put the scores up. And then here.
Let's just, at first, just about the candidates that were here, not any other options. Did anybody stand out for you? Go ahead. Yeah, come comment.
I know you did. I saw that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so I
it on?
thought in the beginning, the discussion was not to take your number 3 and massage it around till it becomes a number 1, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Why are you looking at me like that, Janice?
Okay.
It's coming. It's
No,
floating.
I get it. Look, we're trying to figure out
I
here,
understand you're trying to come to a consensus, but Skip made a speech in the very beginning not to take, if it's your number 3 and we have it and then we massage it around, just to come to consensus when you don't agree and what all the problems it caused in the past.
I think Janice is what is happening is this is all working out and it's going to come to a complete consensus at the end, that the lack of consensus comes to a complete consensus. Okay? If that makes any sense.
All right, it's coming. Oops.
Yes, come on up.
So the lack of consensus.
All right,
Be a consensus,
don't look in the
that'll make
total
sense to
column
us.
anymore.
Strictly based on today's interviews and informal conversations last night. And this is likability as well as competence. I think Suzanne Sherman stands out pretty well, and I don't think that Nate really had the fair opportunity, being that he called in. So those were my two.
Thank you. Anybody else want to?
As a former naval officer's wife, I interacted with a lot of officers, and most of my former husband's family were in the Army, and they were Army officers. It's a totally different mindset, how you deal with the authority that you have than in the public domain. The military is completely different. And I have total respect for the people in the military, but Nate would not be my number one choice. If my opinion means anything, I was kind of torn between Ms. Summers and Hine.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean Sherman. It's not Suzanne Summers. It's Suzanne Sherman. No. She just passed away last year.
Let's include her in the vote anyway.
I think that's a good idea.
Right in. Are we ready for this?
Right in.
My wife retired from Palm Bay a couple years ago. She was assistant for the facility and parks manager. She communicated with him last night, and the notch below his, like what his title is, number 1 and number 2 in that department, suggests that she is one you need to pick. There's no question about that. But what they have problems coming up, she backs them up. Got problems, everything's work. Everybody says, hire her. She's the one to go. So from that, from the speakers that are making the decision of who's going to vote for us taxpayers, it's 100% who just spoke today about that. 1 and 2. That's 2 out of 2. So think about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Looking for low score on the right column. Low score is high. Didn't really drive pleasure.
All right, well, we pretty much got the same consensus.
It's the same pattern.
We've
It's
got
the same grouping.
basically, yeah, we don't have a clear winner through here. So, like I was saying, our lack of consensus, and where you were saying before, we really kind of all need to be very close on the same page, because, you know.
Okay, so based on this, okay?
We tried.
No, can you guys just give me your attention for a minute? One thing we could do, okay, is Mike Hine only had 2 votes, okay? And they were the second choice. So if you took him out of the running, you got Mike Mclofflin with 3 votes, all number 1s, by the way.
Yeah.
You got Suzanne Sherman with 2 votes, a 1 and a 2. And you got Nate Summers with 3 votes. So if we took out everybody but Mclofflin and Summers and voted again.
You got Mike and Nate.
I hear you, down select by count, but then that negates the reason of doing the 1 and 2. I was torn, much like Jackson is, it's 4 number 2s. Like, I don't want it to be 1 and 2 and they're just radically different. I think there's a lot, 4 number.
I
So
feel
I
like the
think-
group.
Well, okay, let's say they were all X's. There's still only 2 X's for Hine and 2 X's for Sherman. So you could down select to McLaughlin
Doing like
and
right-
Summers and vote again. We got 5 more sheets. If we can't get there with that, then we punt.
Well, I think to your point at the previous session and what former mayor is saying is, aren't we doing exactly what you said not to do?
Well,
We're shoehorning this in.
Yeah.
And I think.
well,
what
but you said in your dissertation that you could live with any of the 5.
No, I didn't.
You said they were all qualified candidates for city
I
manager.
think we have people that
doesn't mean he
would
wants
do
to live
the
with it.
job.
Right.
Right. I don't think that necessarily makes them the right choice.
Okay.
Right. So back into my dissertation, right? So when hiring for my engineering group with Space Force, I don't interview people that aren't qualified, right? And so by the time we're interviewing, 4 or 5 folks, the assumption is every one of the people that are going to go through this process are qualified. That doesn't mean that I'm just going to hire at random, right? There's going to be a primary candidate, and that's going to be my primary alternate. That's who I'm sending over to AFPC. So when I say that I think we've got a great set of smart, talented, sincere professionals here, that doesn't
You're
mean
just blowing.
I'm saying
You're just
I
blowing
don't
their
care.
skirt up.
No, I think we're making an observation that, when we run for commission, the fact that one gets elected, does that mean that the other one couldn't have done the job? No, but that means that's the person who got elected.
Why don't we do it,
Well, all I'm saying is skip one and I didn't.
I'm just kidding.
if we do this one more time, just between McLaughlin and Summers, whatever the result is, unless it's an epiphany, then we can do something else, okay?
I'm willing to go through it. I think we're doing exactly what you guys advise us not to. But I'm willing to do it. I'm just protesting.
Let's
No
go
one's
through.
ever gotten more than 3, and now all of a sudden they're going
Let's
to get
go.
4.
Well, I think we're going to
Let's
break
go
down to a
through-
3-2 based on my
we all know-
observations here.
Let's go through one more iteration.
I'm
We
willing
don't
to do
have
it.
to live with it because, like you said, we're trying to force a consensus, and we're not all in agreement.
I'll vote, Skip, I want to throw this out. No one has ever exceeded the 3-vote threshold with the iterations. And
Right.
this will be the first time we do that.
And we'd be asking somebody to come on based on a 3-2.
So we need new sheets.
You came
How
prepared.
about this?
No, I
Yeah,
sent her
so
back
On
to
our,
me.
on our new sheet,
So basically, you're forcing this into a vote of someone that I didn't vote for.
how about this? On a new sheet, right, exactly. Exactly. You're exactly right.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
This is what I want you to do. On a new sheet, I want you to pick or write in. What do you think?
No, we'll talk about that after we finish this iteration.
Because we're not at a consensus
No,
here.
let's go through this iteration.
What if the write-in without even talking about it is a consensus?
Let's,
We are forcing somebody to trip that 3-vote threshold.
Yeah.
We've been in this vote threshold for 3
but
votes.
doesn't mean we have to go with it.
You
We
have
can
the same
discuss it
pattern of
again.
data.
But if we got down to just 2 candidates to vote for,
We are not.
who would you pick?
Listen,
The
what,
fact that Nate's getting 3 votes without going through, as you said, 60% of the process is pretty impressive.
I think we're throwing conjecture in there.
yeah, I agree with you. But if
I
we
think
do.
Nate is impressive. I think Nate is impressive. I'm not diminishing him in any way.
Look, if we do a write-in and there's a consensus on a write-in without even discussing it, then I think we're done.
Well, I mean, I can't put Skip's name on here because he
It
worked for the city.
I already wrote
That'd be off
Skip's
for a
name
year.
on
You'd
here.
have
What's
to turn
going
the
on?
clock forward a year, and I have to resign in 2 nanoseconds ago.
Okay.
Pick one or a write-in. That's what I say.
I would have a lot of trouble with a write-in. I mean,
No, let's just go,
We haven't-
we're going
somebody
to talk
wasn't even
about this.
included
We're going to talk
the
about this
process?
after this, but you're only going to choose
Okay.
either McLaughlin or Summers,
All right, there we go.
all right?
You're forcing us to pick without a real consensus.
Well, we're just going to see how this turns out.
So before I
Commissioner, if you refuse to vote,
any guidance from the professionals?
I'm only voting because it happens to be that the guy was.
Maybe you would be willing to offer?
You've seen something this bad
Well, I'm
before,
only-
right?
I feel like
It's
we're
either
throwing
three or,
darts.
it's either Mike or Susan, right?
That's, yeah.
Well, I've consistently put her at one. so
There
that's
you
why
go. So we can.
Nothing of note? I mean,
think
we're.
this is evolving.
Karen?
You have a,
One more iteration.
Let me hear the city attorney.
Offer.
Just pick one.
Y'all have been having very productive conversations so far. When you're not, one of us might jump in.
Okay.
Y'all are having very productive conversations, so.
I wrote in Wade.
Dang it.
I wrote in Becky.
You made me.
Listen
We
here.
already got a job.
Yeah. And doing quite well.
If the salary range would have been $100,000 more, then one of them would probably took it.
This is something.
Yeah, no, you guys can leave.
Yeah.
You're
This
good.
isn't a
Stay where
done
you're
deal.
at.
We have the vote.
And by the way, I
We have the vote,
don't
and when
know.
we do the final vote on consensus, if we only have 2 people, 3 people that concede.
I don't know who made this form, but you spelled my name wrong.
I didn't make this.
Spelled my name
I
wrong.
didn't spell it. I didn't make it.
Don't do
I'm
this.
not gonna accept
I'll fix it for this
I'm not gonna
one.
accept it, because this is exactly.
There.
I have nothing.
Shoot me.
But my bet. So just.
Can we just?
But you know what? It's a vote.
Or like
If I don't
sell our
accept it, it's a
candidate?
4-1 vote.
Is that helpful? That you'd like
My
this
prediction. based-
quantified?
I already tried this.
I don't understand.
What this comes out really. In one way or another, that there's 3-2 voting split. I don't think you're full power. You think so? Okay.
Okay.
If
The problem is
the
that
consensus,
we can't
fix
come
it.
to a consensus. That's what the issue is.
I think you'll get some needle movement. We're gonna clear the log jam.
Well, we're gonna come to a consensus on this, but it's not a real consensus. But you're forcing us to choose between something that we don't all agree on. What's the lesson?
I swear we're doing this. Even if it works out.
I'm having deja vu from 12 years ago.
Even if it works out in my favor,
I
I still feel
I
like
know,
we're doing it.
I know, that didn't work out.
Oh,
It didn't count.
that's the feeling I have with that,
Okay. And when
feeling
we get
I
down,
have.
well, this isn't the vote.
Yeah, you're right. This is
This is just
information.
data.
This is information.
We're gonna have to vote.
Yeah.
And if we can't get at least a 4-1 vote on one of these candidates, then I think we should go an alternate path. Because I don't think anybody is gonna want to take the job on a 3-2.
I think we're pushing the limit right now.
Right. Well,
I don't know how it's stated.
Karen's gonna give us
I'm getting there.
the latest.
I have it.
You know what?
It's because
None of us are checking that she's actually telling the rep.
Uh-oh.
No,
No
she
one
has
said
to
I
keep
had
all
it.
Yeah,
the,
that's going.
she has to keep all those.
Yeah, secondary kind of, we have somebody else.
You are
Those are
integrity,
Those are
consummate
public
integrity.
Make
That
sure you
was a
staple those
complete
together.
joke, and it was only funny because.
Can I do a mail-in vote?
Excellent. That's the only reason it was funny.
Thank
We
you.
should have signed this.
Yeah, there you
I was
go.
going for.
Mail-in vote and
I'll sign for you.
sign and notarize.
Just kidding. All right, let's see if it goes.
Oh, what are those folks thinking? There.
You guys feel like we're just completely like,
There we go.
Going on.
There's your votes.
I should have checked.
All right,
this is actually, you know what, what's so crazy to me, this is such an important decision, and 5 of you out there.
Wait, what were the
That's so
rules?
crazy
Hey,
to me.
Skip, you gave the rules. You said
I
either
know.
vote for Mike
Okay.
or Susan,
All right.
and you voted for me.
all right, let me give one more speech.
Can you
No, I
explain
think you
this?
said Nate and Mike.
Commissioner Tumulty, did you see that one coming?
Can I make my speech?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, from history,
So.
this didn't work out last time, so
No.
we do have a Plan B.
I would have been.
And our Plan B is to ask to not pick any of these candidates,
This was intense.
and to ask AJ to stay up to 2 years,
I see.
and either at the end of 2 years, he'll have developed a directorate-level employee to be our city manager. We'll have to go through a search, probably end up a little cheaper. And if he doesn't feel comfortable at the end of the 2 years, or close to the end of the 2 years, that he's been able to develop somebody that we would feel comfortable with, then we'll go through another search then.
So,
You're saying punt for another 2
What,
And
can
let
I,
AJ do 2 more years.
can I ask before we get into
Yes,
that?
go ahead.
I'd love to hear from the firm, and I'd love to hear from Wade. I think we've got some thoughts, so just at least open the floor to them and see what we hear. It may not change exactly what you're saying, Commissioner.
I want to interject.
Yes.
So in a year and a half, we're going to have potentially at least one new commissioner. I don't know if you're going to run again, Jeremy, or not. And
You better.
You don't need to,
Sorry.
divulge that. But potentially we could have two other commissioners. We're going to have another commission. I would think that we would need, with AJ, 2 more years. That's going basically 6 months into a new commission and expecting commissioners to vote on the new city manager. I would suggest that we do 1 year, and before the next election, we have a new city manager for AJ. 'Cause he didn't want to stay here for 2 years.
No, he said he'd stay for 2
Hold on one second, let me interject
this
real
is my
quick.
point.
I think
is
it
what
would
I'm
be
saying.
better to have a city manager stay through the election cycle and have the people that are newly elected comfortable and up to speed on how the city runs, so they'll know what to look for in a city manager, be it somebody that was developed from within, or we go out for another search.
So real quick, let me piggyback on that. It's common knowledge, and it's you see it all the time. After an election, it's not uncommon to change city managers. If we did this just before, that person might only be in there for 6 months before they get ousted. It's prudent, and it makes sense too. That's true, but it's prudent and it makes sense to allow the new people that will be running for the next 4 years to choose their next city manager, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I do think that we need to, if AJ is willing, I think if he wants to do for 2 years, that is a prudent thing to do, to let you go beyond the next election cycle.
So I'm really interested in the firm and Wade's inputs before we
make a decision.
Before we make a motion and a second and a vote.
And I'm going to need, I think, a little bit of time to process this.
Yes. Go ahead. You got any ideas of what we just discussed or said as far as?
Well, I can say this, the last 3 searches we did,
You may need to speak on this.
Yeah, if you would,
Microphone.
if you wouldn't mind.
The last 3 searches.
You can just grab a microphone.
Not with the city of Cocoa Beach, but the last 3 searches you did for other cities.
the last 3 searches that
It's not
Colin
turned on.
Benzinger and Associates did, and it ended up this way, really. Internal candidates or the interim, so.
So this
It
is not an
happens.
uncommon thing to happen, is what
It's
you're
not
saying?
uncommon.
Okay. Thank you.
I like that AJ approach. That's what I call the do nothing option, because, and one of the key things, and I'll throw this out there just for you guys to understand, one of the key things I want to harp on is, with all these candidates, is Cocoa Beach is like a little echo chamber. And people at Beachside don't want to cross the causeway, and it's hard to recruit from the outside, and I like that approach because there's some internal, and I don't feel like we've had a good succession plan where that's a viable option. It's always been kind of, we had a dumpster fire, the whole 2 city managers ago got let go, yada, yada. So we're kind of scrambling. If that's a real, in the industry, that's what we do. We have very detailed succession plans. I think Mullins has a very solid plan in the police side. But I think, there's a commitment we need to nail down in 2 years. And I think we have some super strong young leaders in the city. You can easily groom, but it's, a lot of dominoes got to fall.
I do want to mention too that.
I bring that up just because I think that is critical. What we're
Yes.
doing here is not, it's a small city. It's pretty much in sustainment mode. It's not like we're trying to court new businesses or Amazon distribution centers or, any kind of large development. It's like, engage with the residents. It's a kind of a unique mix of folks that live here and need touch points, but.
So real quick, do you guys remember, or anybody remember what the recruitment process cost was?
$35,000.
$35,000.
Change.
So when we look at.
Which is worth every penny of it.
Right, but when we look at what AJ basically, what he would stated was, he could stick around for 2 years. He's asking for no more than what we currently pay, without benefits, without retirement. If for some reason, so in 2 years, Wes wasn't, or anybody wasn't ready to move up in that process,
Don't ask AJ to stay any longer.
but what I'm getting at is, if we went back out to recruitment again, we're ahead of the game anyways, because AJ will honestly, you'll be about $100,000 a year cheaper than any other candidate that we have on the books. But no, but he's doing it for the love of the city. He lives in the city. He takes ownership of the city. What I'm saying, even just from a financial part of it, even if we had to go out, if AJ was done, we still come ahead and we could hire in the future, and it's not like we wasted any of the city's money moving forward with this idea. So that's another thing to consider is AJ is doing it for the love of the city. He's not costing us any extra money. If anything, he's saving us money moving forward. And we know that he could do the job. We know that the staff loves him. He's respectful. He's loved in the community. And I feel like, I don't know, but I would say that most of us agree with those sentiments. So that's my input on this.
Wade, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I was just to the, if there was any concern, I wanted to share first, agree with your consultant that it is in various permutations a common occurrence where you see things like this end up as an end result. Second thing, just generally, I would mention, as I think you all know, the selection of the city manager is completely in the discretion of the city commission. So if this is the direction the city commission wants to go, it's completely within your authority to go that direction.
Comment, Mayor? Do you guys see any value in sleeping on this for a day, a week, revisit this vote? Or
Revisit this vote?
these candidates?
No, I don't think so. We went through it 3 times. We're not gonna come up to a consensus.
You know, it really hit me when, so we had people coming forward, Melissa Byron, AJ, this and that. And though, you know, like me and Melissa have a slight checkered past, but I thought it was a big, I thought it was actually really big of her, and I do respect her opinion, where she even backed AJ as well. So, you know, to me, I feel like, you know, she was so enamored with AJ that she even stepped down, and she basically said, you know what, AJ's made for this. So, you know, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I met him, but I'll tell you what, right off the bat, I had warm and fuzzies, you know, and there wasn't, I didn't really have to come to I didn't have to like talk myself into wanting to keep AJ. So that's, like I said, so that's my piece.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hey, and Skip, honestly, I didn't know, like, Skip, thanks, Skip.
Pull the rabbit out of my hat. Thanks, AJ.
Can we do a 15-minute recess and just give some process?
Let's do that. And let me real quick, let me just get from you guys out here, now that you know the second half of this idea, your words real quick, and then we'll go to a quick recess.
I was going to offer that it gave them 15 minutes to think of their comments and thoughts.
Well, it seems like they're all raising their hands right now. So.
If you've got them already, then.
Yeah.
So Janice is going to take AJ.
Janice, go first.
I don't know.
You don't have to go through the whole thing, just say keep AJ.
No, you need
You gotta use the mic
on so they can.
so that, for the TV or the YouTube stuff. Yeah.
I think it's on now?
Yeah.
Okay, so good job. It's a very interesting process you just went through. All the candidates were very interesting, had a lot of experience and so forth. So I'm glad that you really focused on coastal community experience. One candidate talked a lot about the businesses, the CRA and Main Street, never once mentioned the residents that I recall. And you know, I'm big on representing the voters who put you in office. And my only last comment would be AJ is a great candidate if he wants to serve a year or do it for 2 years, however long you agree on. I would also, while you're talking about the city manager situation, I hope that the city manager, whoever will be going forward as a city manager, will find an assistant manager so that should the manager leave, we are not left in a situation of not having an assistant manager. Thank you very much. Good job.
Rick?
Good job. We got a good job from Janice.
Yeah, look at that.
Somebody write that down.
Whoa.
She was talking to AJ.
No. Oh.
That's
I mean, obviously, I think if you stick with AJ, and that's the consensus, that it would not be a bad choice. I'm going to make one comment about the Mike Mclofflin who got the most votes. I was really concerned when the question was asked about how quickly he would make changes. And he was talking about changes within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, changes to CRA, changes to Main Street Cocoa Beach. Main Street Cocoa Beach has been they've been together a very long time, and I just think that he would ruffle a lot of feathers, and I'm concerned about that.
I think it's always really difficult to come to a consensus because everybody has such different values and ways of thinking about things and analyzing, people's backgrounds and so on and so forth. We have a great interim city manager that by far gives us a little wiggle room since he's volunteered to kind of stay in his position for a little bit. But you got you had 5 great candidates, but you got 2 candidates that live close enough by that possibly AJ would extend an invitation to interview for an assistant city manager position. If you all will give him the budget to do it, to me it would be an investment up front, and we might gain a lot on the backside for him to have the opportunity to mentor that person. And I think that would be a great investment. And if, as a citizen and business person, if you would see that that could possibly happen, I think that'd be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dillon. Just try to speed things up.
It on or good thinking?
All right.
AJ, fine young upstanding gentleman. But I got a question on how you could do this. Usually if you go back and make a decision, you got to go through the city commission 2 times. Can you do that tonight?
Yeah,
One
this
time?
isn't
Let me finish.
this isn't an
Let me
ordinance.
finish, please. Can you do that the right way we're supposed to? The speaker is talking right now. Can you do that legally the right way? Let the attorney answer my question. So can you do that tonight? Because this is not involved with another person to write in for tonight. Can you hire a person like that position one time, or you got to go 2 times like we other commission meeting has been previously? That's just my question. Let the city attorney answer that for me. Thank you.
City attorney.
Is this on? Green's on? All right, fantastic. I think the perception that may have been commented on about doing it twice, that of course is how you adopt an ordinance, which is a lot of the very important things that the commission does are adopted by ordinance, which takes 2 readings at 2 different meetings and so on. This would not be one of those instances. So any action you take it now. This was noticed as a meeting to be able to take final action on it, so you can take final action on this
Because we
matter.
can reverse that action at our next meeting.
You could,
Actually.
absolutely, sure.
So, I mean, because that's where we are on
That
this.
is true.
I do have something to say about the assistant. I agree that we do need that. Our position, though, per charter, is that we can only hire the attorney and the city manager. I believe in the past correct me if I'm wrong, but we've okayed a city manager
Assistant, you can.
to hire an assistant, and it seemed like it, as I recall, it went through the commission. Not when I was on the commission, obviously you
No,
were.
it's all budgetary.
It's
all budgetary.
It is, but was there any input from the commission as to who the city manager selected? Obviously, it's up to him. It needs to be up to him because we can't hire or fire any other employee for the city.
We would have to Here's how it would normally go.
How did it go with the,
Here's how it would normally go. He's city manager, and he's like, I got more to do than I can do, and Carrie's busting her butt, and Karen's busting her butt, and everybody else in the staff's busting her butt. I need an assistant city manager. So he would get with the finance office, with the budget people, and say, can we carve out enough money to hire an assistant city manager? And let's put together a presentation to the commission. He would bring it to the commission, say, hey, I've got more work to do than I can do properly. Everything's not getting done as good as it should. I need an assistant city manager. We figured out a way to wiggle enough money out of the budget to do that. Do you agree that we hire a city manager? And because it's a budgetary decision, we decide.
Wayne.
But who it is, he decides.
Yeah, agreed, but so we've had two assistant city managers right there, was one of them, and the previous CFO was one
Right.
of them. That exercise didn't happen.
No,
So-
we had
By virtue of it
funding,
getting commission
we had
approval?
funding for that in the budget for that position as a line item head as an FTE.
I don't think so.
Yes, yes.
23, 24?
I think what happened was you had.
Wayne never had an assistant.
They were already employees, but the pay.
Wayne never had him as assistant city manager.
No.
Chuck Billis had him as assistant.
No,
Karen.
he came after Wayne.
Karen was an
I'm talking
assistant.
about Karen.
Well, internally, if he goes out of town for an emergency for 5 days, he would designate somebody as acting city
There's
manager.
two, assistant and acting are two different
She was
roles.
the city manager.
Well,
and
he can dub anybody he wants assistant city
It doesn't matter.
manager
Like,
as
it's
long
a-
as it's not changing their pay.
It's a budgetary decision.
I think regardless, this is not part of this discussion, and it's up to him to choose. Like, this is irrelevant to any of this process, so.
Yeah, I think
We're getting in the
major
weeds right
thing
here.
Is
Okay.
if it were a change, I think where it comes into play, and I think it's exactly what Commissioner Williams is saying in terms of it's a budgetary process, is assuming it's over a $50,000 job, to create that position and add that as a line item, you would have to get the approval of the commission because it's a $50,000 or more change.
Yeah.
If, and this is hyperbole, if you had someone who was willing to do the assistant city manager job for less than 50,000, I think it would be in the sole discretion of the city manager to create that position, be able to do it, because it would be below the 50,000
Right, but
threshold.
he'd have to manipulate that money out of the finance.
He'd have to
I agree, but
find
we're
it.
getting in the weeds,
I
so it
think
just
that's
doesn't
what-
matter. None of this
All right,
matters.
So I
Like,
want
let's
to
just.
make one more thing. So before we take let's go sleep on it for 15 minutes, I want to go ahead and make the motion and see if I get a second, and then we'll take a recess for 15 minutes so you can do your thinking.
I'm going to request that nobody second it, just so that you can respect your wishes of taking a break real
No, we
quick.
can vote no.
Okay, go ahead.
I do appreciate that, Mayor.
All right, I make a motion that we accept AJ's willingness to stay on as city manager for up to 2 years, and I guess that's all that's needed in this motion. And I'm looking for a second.
All right, motion dies for lack of a second.
We're gonna make the
We're gonna
same
go on a,
motion
we're gonna
again.
go on
How
a 10,
stupid is that gonna look?
we're gonna go on a 10-minute break. We'll be back at
do it every meeting.
4:50. 4:50, 10-minute break.
And make the same motion.
Upcycle.
Don't forget,
Make a motion?
hold on one second. Everybody put your mics on if you're going to talk. Real quick, AJ, what is your current salary?
It's 161.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And it's got a caveat that he gets the same raise as the city employees.
He gets the same COLA, 4% a year as everyone else.
For next year, that's
Yeah.
what's agreed to.
And also covered by the city insurance, right?
He doesn't need it.
No.
Or, in terms of legal protections and
Oh.
actions and decisions you make as the city manager? I think that was one of the things we wanted to make sure that you didn't have to go get your own professional insurance or anything like that.
Okay, Skip's going to make a motion.
Make a motion, we accept AJ's willingness to stay on up to 2 years as our city manager.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. AJ, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I wouldn't be doing this if it were a different commission. This is a good commission, and I like working with this commission. I'd also say that part of the objective is to keep the staff together. It's fabulous staff, and there are at least 3 people who will be city managers down the road. And one of the things that I'd like to work on is to help move that succession, that career succession moving forward, so that we bring up people from within that know the city, know the culture, and can get the job done. So that's why I'm interested in doing that. And by the way, I enjoy the challenge. If I didn't like what I was doing, I wouldn't be doing it.
All right. I appreciate you, AJ, for stepping up to the plate to begin with, and for being so easy to work with, and also continuing to step up for the city. And it shows how much you love the city, and also you love your staff. So any public comment beyond what we've already discussed? All right. Any commission comment beyond? Are we?
Yeah, the note that I had made was exactly what you addressed, AJ, was I think if we're going to go in this direction, I think that we've observed that in 2 years we have another decision to make, most likely. And if, AJ, you're willing to stay on, I think a key deliverable, and Commissioner Hutchinson, you mentioned it, is something, it's a standard practice, but that we really need to take succession planning seriously. I think to your point, we do have some really, really credible leaders here, but we can't wait 2 years to start doing succession planning. And I think that one of the major asks for me that I would offer up for consensus is that we document a succession, not people, names, but processes and protocols, the city's approach to how we do succession planning in earnest over the next 2 years, but not end there, that it become a thing, a discipline that we have in our city.
I think that's the city manager's job.
Yeah, and I think that's what we heard is his intent as well.
So let's just say, yeah, we understand it. He said he'd do it. Let's let it be done.
Yep.
AJ, you think that number is achievable? 2 years, it's not arbitrarily set to get a feasible working succession plan?
Say that again, please.
The 2-year window you think is totally feasible?
Oh, yeah.
For your service to get?
Yes, I do.
Because I don't want to be in the same position with a locked up vote 2 years from now with another
I think
candidate search.
Within 2 years, and maybe even a little less,
Okay.
I'll be able to turn it over to somebody else.
All right, so we got a motion and a second, and it sounds like we've got a pretty good consensus.
Yeah, and I think we do, but Commissioner Williams, what I am saying is that I'd like to see a product, I'd like to see a document, and I appreciate what you're saying from an executive leadership perspective. Succession planning is understood to be part of it. We've had a lot of city managers, to my knowledge, we don't have a documented succession plan. So if it's been assumed that it's part of the city manager's job, I don't think it's been recognized that it is. So
yeah.
I'm looking for a consensus that we establish one because we have a need within the next 2 years.
Real quick, I've had discussions with AJ on this, and he absolutely has this in his mind, in his forefront. He's got people that he's already considering. So
Like to see it written down.
Okay.
And again, not names, but the approach.
Can I make a comment? Cindy?
Yes,
Build a succession plan for the positions in the city.
I believe we've got to
You need
ask
to
the
ask-
city
you gotta ask
manager.
AJ first to
And
do that.
Work with AJ. Okay?
City
Got
manager.
that?
All right.
Yes, if he tells me to do that, I'll do that.
That's
Put it in
the
writing.
right answer.
How about this?
Thank you.
City manager, if it's in your purview and you'd like to do that, please listen to Mr. Williams' request.
I think there's consensus on the commission.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And Cindy's going to do it, and it's on public record, and it's recorded. It's going to be in the minutes.
But we need to do it in order, and so that's the reason why we're going through AJ to have Cindy do it. Okay, so,
AJ,
all,
motion's AJ up to 2 years.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
What you call consensus.
Thank you, AJ, and that's what we wanted.
And thank you.
It was grueling. Last time I had
I don't know if we're still recording, but thank
Motion
you to
adjourned.
all of the